welcome to part 2 of ranking the Steelers amid the NFC. We, of course, last week, go check it out if you haven't already, ranked the Steelers it was the NFC North and NFC East, if I'm not incorrect, which leaves us this week with the NFC West and NFC South. And so we'll be picking out each team, going through some of the acquisitions, some of the changes, some of the schematic things, maybe even, if Gav's got his thinking cap on. And talking about how we think these teams match up against the Steelers and whether we think overall, on a holistic view, are the Steelers better or worse than these teams. So without further ado, let's jump into it. You probably know what we're doing if you've listened to the other episodes.
Well,
so,
I was going to say, do we want to say here, if you're listening to this and didn't listen to part 1, go back to part 1 now, and then we can reveal where we were with part 1, so then we can carry on.
That's a great idea, yeah. So if you didn't listen to part 1, or even the AFC and part 1, so go back to 2 episodes ago, listen to the AFC, go back to the last episode, listen to the NFC. Now we're going to tell you where we're up to. Where do the Steelers currently rank, Gav, amid the AFC and the NFC with 8 teams to go?
Well, we had the Steelers being better than one team in the NFC North, the Vikings, and better than 3 teams.
There was some discord
contention
last week.
Well, that's why we ended up being part 2, because that division took
a long time,
way too long. So that's why we ended up splitting it. So we had better than one team. So you can keep track here with the numbers. Better than one team in the NFC North, and better than 3 teams in the NFC East. We had better than the Giants, better than the Washington football team / Red Hogs / Red Wings / Commanders, and better than the Cowboys. Okay, are you keeping up with the scores here?
Yep.
Okay, and then hang on, I just need to scroll somewhat. We were in the AFC. We were agreed that not as good as the Ravens, but better than the Browns and the Bengals.
Sorry if there was a minor sound. Continue.
Then in the AFC East, better than the Dolphins and the Jets. Not a hard one, but worse than the Patriots and the Bills. Are we still on track with the?
I may have been slightly thinking by the sound. Sorry. So we're better than 4 in the NFC, and then in the AFC, catch me up what you just said.
Okay, well, hang on. I'll just carry on. So in the AFC West, we were better than everyone except the. No, sorry, we were worse than everyone except the Raiders. I misread that wrong.
All right, now we officially need the Benny Hill theme tune behind.
So better than the Raiders, not as good as Broncos, Chargers, or Chiefs. And then in the AFC South, better than the Colts, better than the Titans, not as good as the Jags and the Texans. That's what we agreed. So we were 8th in the AFC. So here we go. This is 8th in the AFC, and then we would be 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So 12 so far.
In the league.
Yep, 12 so far overall, with 2 divisions to go. So are they going to go below 16? That's the real quiz, right? Are they in the top half? Are they in the bottom half? Right, there you go.
Is there 16 playoff spots, or am I making that up? Is there more than that?
No, there is 16 playoff spots. You're right. Yep.
All right, very good. I predict. I haven't thought about this.
No, there's 14.
Oh,
14 playoff spots. Sorry,
really?
yes. Yeah, because that would be half the league going into the playoffs, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, this is what I'm trying to think. So you've got
you got the one bye team, haven't you? You've got 6 teams in the wild card.
Yes, it's 7.
Stop making us do maths.
Yeah. It's 4 plus 3, 7 times 2, 14. Right.
You showed it's working then and everything. The listener can check that out then.
Right. Okay, who wants to go first? We'll start with the West, shall we? As a slightly
yes.
more...
Okay. So if we jump into the NFC West, well, is there any that you? I don't want to tread on your toes, Gav. Is there any specific?
No, you go first. I know you're going to take one of 2 teams, so go ahead and take one of those 2 teams.
All right. Well, I will start, I guess, with the Super Bowl champion Hawks. Home of the legendary Marshawn Lynch. I'm really enjoying pregnant pauses. I'm just like really feeling
You're
out.
You're a massive fan of pregnant pauses.
Yeah,
at the moment, yes.
I'm like feeling out like how long can I really squeeze out of these pauses until Mark jumps in out of pure like anxiety that I've disappeared.
Yeah, the listener is like concerned that their connection has dropped or their Bluetooth to their car stereo is gone. All
right, I'll try to stop. I'll maintain a consistent pace of conversation. Yes, so the Seahawks. So you'd be forgiven going into last season, I think. Obviously, in the post Russell Wilson, post Pete Carroll kind of malaise that we were in for maybe not having your eyes on the Seahawks too much. And I think I was maybe guilty of this. We all knew, of course, that there was a lot of young talent on the team. We liked a lot of what was going on with the defense. They were talking about Legion of Boom 2.0. Did we really believe it? I'm not sure we did until this season, but we saw what they did, of course, in the Super Bowl campaign. And then I think on offense last year, they were really, really transformed, not only, of course, by Sam Darnold, who came in from the Vikings and really provided them with a just that solid floor that a high-end coach like Mike McDonald needs. Let me try that again. Mike McDonald needs. However, I think you saw that the addition, well, not the addition because he'd already been there, but the what's the word I'm looking for? The upgrade of Jackson Smith and Jigba really sent this offense into the stratosphere. And if you spent any time last season watching Jackson Smith and Jigba in a game, then I think you, like me, will be quite confident in saying that he's the best wide receiver in the league, at least if you take into account, current form going into the season. I don't want to necessarily have a conversation about, like, yeah, but Justin Jefferson's been doing it for ages and he's better if you look at the all right, but look, what I'm saying is, going into the season, if I had to, like, pluck a receiver off the receiver tree that's, like, at the highest level and going into it at his very peak, I think it would be Jackson Smith and Jigba, because that kid just moves different. I mean, he is a route runner from out of this stratosphere. And I think we said it when he was coming out of the draft. A lot of us liked him, but we were unsure, coming out of that system and sort of not being the most athletic guy in the world. And we'd seen a lot of dudes fail in similar situations. A few people weren't quite sure if he was going to come off, and holy hell has it. A couple question marks I have about this team, though. Obviously, Zach Charbonnet goes down last season quite late. The thought is that he's going to miss a good chunk of the season, if not all of it, to be honest, with that injury. They let Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker out the door, of course, to go to the Chiefs. So you're left with, a severely downgraded, obviously, they draft Jadarian Price. They've got George Holani, who I liked, but he really was a depth piece for them last year, so it's hard to expect a great deal from him. And that seems like a massive downgrade in a team that hasn't really shook the apple cart too much from what they did to win the Super Bowl last year. So I'll stop blabbing and I'll present you with this question. Is it a good thing that the Seahawks haven't really touched this roster, and that they've kind of, for the most part, outside of just, the usual churn and then adding people in the draft, they've kind of kept it pretty simple. They haven't gone out and sort of broke the bank. They've tried to keep everybody as well, and that's obviously hard to do for a Super Bowl team, and they've been pretty successful about keeping the starting team outside of that running back room. Is that a good thing for the Seahawks, or is a team that we're probably going to get onto in a minute, so I won't tread all over it, absolutely biting at their ankles after some of the moves they've made this offseason, and should the Seahawks have done more?
Well, there's definitely...
This is...
everybody's keen.
You go, Gav, you go.
No, go on.
Oh, okay, thanks.
It's like two ladies at the door in the post office.
I think this is very much a test for Mike McDonald here. How can he make this team that is effectively the same on paper as it was last year? How can he keep it fresh? How can he make sure that people don't figure out what the Seahawks were doing? And just how can they approach this season in a fresh new way to really help them try and retain their title. The pieces are definitely there. I agree with you on the running back front. That is a worry. As much as I like Jadarian Price, to have it all hinder on the shoulders of a rookie is concerning. Sam Darnold, obviously, last couple of years has really broken out and has been a really, really good player. But we know what he is susceptible to, and it's a case of, he's just come off being a Super Bowl champion. Are cracks going to start appearing, or can he maintain that level of play that he was at?
Can I just, not to spoil your run, but just to pause on that point and have a discussion about Sam Darnold very quickly. Do you think there's, because we've always, I don't just mean us, I mean like the football cognoscenti, no pregnant pause, we've always been quite harsh on Sam Darnold, even when he's had the positive seasons, right? After the Vikings 14-win season, there was even in the Vikings organization, right? They weren't so bothered about keeping him because they just didn't believe it was him. And I'll put this to you, Gavin. You can come in and talk about the Seahawks. Oh, sorry, I don't want to step all over you, Matt, because you're halfway through a point.
No, that's fine.
Ignore me. But all this to say, with Sam Darnold, is there a world here where Sam Darnold steps on, and having won the Super Bowl with the experience he's got, and with Mike McDonald, we're actually viewing him next season maybe not so much as a trailer, but as the truck that's driving the Seattle team maybe into a dynasty or at least competing, obviously, for the next 5 years?
That might be where I'm most worried. Like, if he is going to have to be that driving force, is that where it all sort of falls apart? I mean, he was backed up by a brilliant 1-2 combo of Walker and Charbonnet, and then Walker obviously goes off in the Super Bowl as well, MVP level play from him. It doesn't have that now, and it's very much going to be on the shoulders in that backfield of him. Especially if Price doesn't come on that quickly, and there's no other running back springing out from there. As you say, Charbonnet may miss the entire season. We don't know. So massive tester for him, and I worry about whether or not the lights will get too bright for him and he'll start seeing those ghosts that he so famously saw not too long ago. But Gav, where are you with Sam Darnold?
Is Joe Flacco elite?
For newer listeners, for younger listeners, Joe Flacco was a quarterback that, well, wait a minute, he's still here.
That's the question. This is Joe Flacco 2.0, right? He finally got hot. He had a great run into the playoffs. You look at, I just pulled it up on the stream a second ago. You look at his PFF. There's some in the mid like week 11 down to sort of week 18. Some pretty poor grades on PFF. Started strong. The first 6 games, first 9 games, brilliant. And then obviously got hot in the playoffs. That's what Joe Flacco would do. And one year he got hot and they won the Super Bowl, right? Is Sam Darnold elite? I don't think so. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he is a trailer, not a truck, like you said. He's part of a team, and it's a team sport, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think something that we've not mentioned that's a big factor. Clint Kubiak was the OC last year. He's gone to the Raiders. Now, I think his scheme was what got them going. They gelled as a team. No one had the Seahawks as a Super Bowl team last year, did they?
No, not really.
I had the Steelers better than the Seahawks last year, just having a look at the whole thing. So
right,
yeah,
and his scheme,
that was ringing in my ears every time y'all were like, "Yeah, the Steelers are better than the Packers."
Yeah, his scheme got people open. He was putting defenders. Yeah. He would pinpoint a defender, the cornerback or a safety, and make them make a choice, and then whoever was, whatever choice he made, the defender, the other receiver was open. Like he was, smash routes, those concepts, scissors, whatever. He was playing around. It was great stuff by the end. Remember the Jackson Smith in Jigba just running free to the corner. That scheme. I mean, I'm not saying that JSN isn't a fantastic receiver, but what a perfect mesh it was.
It's a match made in heaven because you've got a guy who just, he's so slick the way that he can change a direction. It's like, and we do a lot of draft scouting and stuff. It's not that kind of traditional, how would you put it, like joystick movement, right?
Jitterbug.
It's not the traditional like jitterbug movement. It's perfect for route running because it's like he's water. He's a liquid. It's like you're pouring him into like a 90-degree angle and he's just like perfectly slide. Oh man, I could watch JSN all day.
It's power through breaks, and it's breaks that don't sell what he's doing. That's part of route running. It's not just how smooth you are. It's does your stem, which is when you're from your release up until your break, does that look identical if you're breaking in, out, going a dig, coming back, doing a comeback? Does it look the same? Does it give clues to the cornerback what you're doing? Is there a slight lean or a shift, or are you slightly higher through your break or something like that? He looks identical. There's no tells in what he does at all, and it's powerful.
That's what's fascinating about football, right? Overall, not to get totally lost in the weeds, but like, when people dog on football or whatever, like, it's not. We always talk about being a chess game of these two teams, but not only is it a chess game of two teams, like in that game, there's all these individual matchups where, like you say, it's so interesting. You've got the elite cornerbacks that are putting all this time into studying the tendencies, almost like a goalkeeper would in penalties, right? Like where they're putting all this time in assessing what the tendencies are, and has he got any gives or any tells, and that's just for one position, just cornerback v wide receiver, not to mention the 10 other dudes that have got things going on.
I've said it before.
Chess meets poker.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you're in a conversation and someone starts dogging on football, you just think to yourself, don't say it because it'll enrage them. You just think, yeah, well, football is like showing a dog a card trick, and you're the dog.
That's great. That's really good.
Right?
I like that.
Anyway, the Seahawks. So was it a one-year blip or are they back? Are they going to be back? Brian Fleury, former 49ers run game and tight end coach, replacing Kubiak. Can he deliver the same goods? Don't know. Same scheme, generally. As you said, McDonald and everything. But I don't know. I think Clint Kubiak was feeling himself last year, and that's what led to it. So I'm just saying I still think the Seahawks are better, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Coming off with the with the momentum and the vibes off that win, I think they might not get back to the Super Bowl, but I think the belief that they're going to have probably puts them in a different stratosphere to the Steelers.
Yeah, there's just there's strong young players on this team still who are just getting another year older and another year wiser as well. You keep the nucleus of a team that was Super Bowl champions. That's always going to be a big bonus. But yeah, obviously Kubiak being out the door could be a big factor. We'll see how Fleury does. Still got Aiden Dirty, our boy, as DC. Still managed to hold on to him. So the Seahawks clearly better than the Steelers. Got no qualms about that. It could be a blip, but with the team that they have, just a lot of strong pieces along all in pretty much every position. As I say, other than maybe running back, and we'll see what happens there. But other than that, yeah, this is just a great team. I actually had them as the second best team in the NFC still. I think the problem they have is just who that first team of the NFC that I've got as who we will be talking about very shortly, I believe.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, but this is
the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes, but this isn't about ranking the NFC teams against each other.
No, it isn't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's where I have them. But it is.
Sure.
It is
but
clear that the Seahawks are better than the
would you
Steelers.
agree with me that the line is fantastic? Charles Cross, amazing pass protector. Gray Zabel might be one of the best offensive line.
Unbelievable pickup.
Yeah, amazing. Their centre, Jalen Sundell, not a guy I know much about, but Abraham Lucas seems to be a good right tackle.
6th round pick, Abraham Lucas.
Yeah, he seems to
very lanky guy, very tall, but he's come on well. And that's actually true for Charles Cross when you think about it. I mean, he was such an elite pass protector coming out, right? And he seems to have developed in the run game as well. I think that's what's helped them with that scheme. But I do wonder, like you said, I guess it's all on Jadarian Price, right? He's going to have to really come in and show something, but. Yeah, a lot on the shoulders of a first round running back who didn't start for his college team. Can't get that out of my head, man. It's a tough sell.
Yeah. Was Lucas a 3rd round pick? I thought.
So maybe he was. Sorry,
yeah.
if I got that right.
Was
he a 3rd round pick?
It's judging by what it says here on our lads, but sometimes that could be
my
wrong. So great line. Now AJ Barner really emerged. Obviously had a big touchdown in the Super Bowl. I wouldn't put him as a top 5 tight end. Would you put him as a top 10 tight end?
I think he might sneak in there. He's definitely top 15, but
top half of the league.
Might sneak into the top 10. Yeah, potentially.
Interesting one. I think he's got to put another year together for me to consider it that. Sometimes these players can emerge when the team coheres towards the end of the season. I think that's what happened. But I think people are quietly saying he's good. Obviously, they've got Elijah Arroyo, who's was seen by many as being a kind of athletic move tight end.
Yeah,
but the receivers, I've got some questions. I mean, obviously we've said JSN best receiver in the league up there. Rashid Shaheed, real speed, take the top off guy. Cooper Kupp's been one of my favourite receivers over the last 10 years or however long it's been. He's been in the league. Love the guy, but it's coming to the end. What do we think's behind them? Torrey Horton's, there's been some buzz, but he was injured, wasn't he, last year? Jake Bobo, again, been some buzz, but he's kind of a UDFA kind of character.
He kind of flits in and out, doesn't he, Bobo? Yeah, one time he'll show up and then he'll go disappearing for another couple of games.
I don't know too much about some of these other cats. Cody White, is that our guy?
That's our boy, Cody White, yep.
He's there. So
Ricky White as well. He was at UNLV. Fairly decent, but again, probably in the right place on our lads there on the depth chart.
So I don't feel like the receiver core is stacked. It's solid, but
it's very reliant on JSN, right? I mean, if he goes down, you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
Obviously, touch wood. I mean, he's one of the last people you want to see go down outside of the Steelers, but I mean, he's the train that's driving this offense right now. I think in terms of the young, powerful, athletic talent, like you said, Gav, scheme can take you so far, but you need the horses at a certain point. I mean, Rashid Shaheed is certainly a pace guy that's going to get you some coverage down the field. He's going to open things up in the middle, but Cooper Cup's getting on. I like it as a threesome, right? As you say, I like it as a threesome, but if it's just if anything gets knocked. Speaking, you see what Trump said this week?
Yeah.
I could not believe that was real. I don't know if anything's real, to be honest, anymore.
Nothing is real.
Anyway, exactly. Are these three guys real? JSN, Regine, Cooper Cup. I'll tell you who's
We've
not
already
real.
said JSN is unreal. We've already
He is
said.
unreal. But let me tell you one person who I know is definitely not real. Backup fullback of the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Brady. That's no.
Brady
That's
Russell.
Brady Russell. See what I mean? You can't. That's just the last names of the two quarterbacks. You can't do that. That's no. See, I'm onto you. You just regurgitating the names. I know how this works.
He has a fine head of hair as well.
Madden.
Fine head of hair. Brady
Wow,
Russell.
holy crap.
That is like Viking level.
The Seahawks are either like they've got a look, right? He looks like a Seahawk. I don't know why.
What do we think about the defense? Obviously, the 2025 front build around Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, DeMarcus Lawrence led the NFL in rushing defense. Only allowed 75.7 yards per game and a league low 3.7 yards per carry. I mean, that's another factor in their run last year. Obviously, everyone's back, and they've added Dante Fowler, Noah Igbonahane, a couple of guys that are always looking to rebuild their careers after being drafted high. So
and it's a team that's been very lucky with injuries. Touch wood again on defense. I mean, it's not a team that suffered great on we've seen what the Lions look like. We've seen what some of these teams that built great defenses have ended up looking like after half a season. So that's another element of it. The Seahawks have been good with health. I mean, look at that secondary. I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure they did. Obviously, I'm not in the weeds with the Seahawks, but much to some people's chagrin.
Well, they lost Reek Woolen, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a big loss. But they've got Nick Emmanuel as their big slot, which is, unless you're keeping up, you'll know big slot is the way the league is going to counter everything that's happening. Big slot seems to be, if you're not playing big slot, then you're out of date.
Because everyone's playing two tight ends and getting jumbo packages in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
You've got a big athletic dude there that you can move around. You can spy on the quarterback. You can fill in doing run fits. You can, as you say, carry a tight end, whatever. That might be the blueprint. Emmanuel might be the prototype of that position, right? Athletic, powerful, strong, great mover, intelligent.
Yeah, because would you say that the kind of the default or like the assumed like common knowledge for that position is like a guy like a Mike Hilton that we're used to, right? Is like a small, shifty, 5'9" cornerback. We put the smallest guy in the slot kind of thing.
It was back in the sort of pass-heavy 2018 days.
Right.
Now the game's changed. This guy's 6'3", 220. He's linebacker size,
Yeah.
You're Cam Newton in the slot now.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard. It's a hard one to overcome. But apart from the loss of Woolen, returning defense, so you've got to like that.
Yeah, and just some of the because you probably don't need to go too much deeper. They're better than the Steelers, but shout out some of those names in that secondary that played so well last year. Julian Love was amazing. Josh Jobe was great. Devin Witherspoon, obviously, we all like. Thank God that he's not Terry Arnold. Let's hope that the reason I connect those two is that they're the two sorry, in he was in 23, Devin Witherspoon, right? And then Terry Arnold was 24, was he?
Yeah.
Or 25?
Oh, 25, sorry.
25.
No, 20.
I forget.
25.
But they're the two most aggressive downhill corners I can remember in the last sort of 5 years. So now when I think of like Terry and Arnold being that like dog without a bone, and then I think Devin Witherspoon, I'm like, please don't kidnap anyone, Devin. Don't do it.
Don't have any guns in your boot, out of state, unlicensed.
Yeah, just be chill.
Yeah.
One last thing on the Seahawks for you, Gav. Jalen Milroe, is he ever going to get that look in?
I'm sure some people hope not, but let's see. I think he's on a Jordan. I'm trying to not say Julian Love because his name's right in front of me. A Jordan Love path where it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for that guy, but if it fails, we might be looking at a converted running back or a wide receiver.
He's done it. He's done the thing. You can't do that, Gav.
Which thing?
You can't say that the black quarterback should turn to a running
I'm not
back.
saying he should, but the whole point about him was that I love Jalen Milroe, right? I absolutely love him. I think he's got a big arm. I think he's one of the most exciting runners. But
I know black quarterbacks myself. Some of my best friend quarterbacks are black. It says.
Jesus Christ. It's not that. It's the issue that he had barely played. You know, it's his short area pass game. It's the reading of the defenses. Can he get that? But a fantastic athlete. So yes, black athletic quarterback struggles.
And to be fair, you always said that Peyton Manning should have been a running back.
Yeah. Let's move on.
I painted him into a corner. He can't say anything, man.
You've crashed.
Is it his football? Is it his football credibility he wants on the line, or his race relations?
But before we move on, I just want to say the Lumen Field kind of looks like a nuclear launch site where the hatches is just opening. I've never really noticed that. Have you seen this? You see it on the street?
I've got some fondness about this because, as I say, the one stand in Lumen, the big triangular stand, does look like the old 70s Dell for Southampton fans. So
interesting.
Special place in my heart for that. And obviously it's getting a lot of love at the World Cup as well. So
can you pull that up on the stream, Gav? The what Mark's just described, the old, is that an old Sunderland ground?
See if I can find a decent one to send Gav.
Because that's
I
I
can put it up on Google. I can't because it's not there anymore. So
no.
That's what we need. We need a Google Earth for history.
Yeah, go back in time machine. The Dell, right?
The Dell.
Let's see. Images. The
I
Dell.
can't quite
There.
remember.
This thing. It's not quite as impressive. I'm going to say
No.
impressive or not impressive. Not impressive. That
Honestly,
thing,
though, what were we expecting?
that thing is rope-a-dope.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to it
I
reaching.
dare you,
me.
some of my fondest childhood memories in that place.
Where did you sit on that thing?
Oh, wow.
Stood. Or should I say?
God bless, man.
Well, I think the
Okay, for the listener, can I just describe this, Mac? For the listener, I'm looking at an image here, and if you can picture CenturyLink or what they call it now, Lumen Field, the Seattle Seahawks Stadium, you've got the big on one side, the big giant, very unique stand, right? That's really tall on its own, segmented from the sides. And what I appreciate, Mark, is you're right. I mean, this is unique, right? I'm looking at the Sunderland. What was it called? Sorry, the Dell.
The Dell. It's Southampton. Sunderland.
I keep saying Sunderland.
I do. Yeah.
Idiot. It is unique, but it's so British in that the bit that's actually going up is like it's about 1 foot taller than the rest.
What's the capacity of that thing? 50?
I mean, yeah, it was a fun stadium. I actually sat on the other end as well, so I was the other stand.
Fantastic, Mark. Thank you.
Now, when was this being used, Mark?
Matt Letizia era?
Yeah, well, yeah. The Dell ran right up until 2001, was it? When St Mary's was built. So,
man, it really makes you realise, doesn't it? Like how much things have changed just in terms of the money in football since the late 90s to now.
I mean, this looks like an architectural accident. This thing. I'm not going to lie. It looks like the architect was drunk and slipped on his design pad and did that.
Everything
like
in
the top
Southampton
bit.
is drunk, I think.
I'm honestly glad that top part didn't fall into the bottom.
Everything in Southampton is an accident, I think. That's it. But that's it in the world.
Okay, let's move on to our next team and who's taking it.
Yes.
That was good, though, Mark. Thank you.
I'm sure that Bernard Park looked no better, Mark. So don't worry about it. Right.
Shall I take us on to another obvious one?
Please do.
Please.
Let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams, shall we? Not only better than the Steelers, get that straight out of the way. For my money, on paper, the single best team in the NFC, possibly in the NFL right now. And to add Myles Garrett to that is just ludicrous. But you also add Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie from Kansas City as well. And then you keep the nucleus of what has been an absolutely fantastic team. Matthew Stafford still playing at a great level. See how long it goes for. And now, obviously, with Ty Simpson breathing down his neck, that makes things interesting. But, Kyron Williams, really nice running back option there with Blake Corum as a 1-2. See how well Corum comes on. Wide receiver room's interesting. Devontae Adams still there. Can still do a piece. We know how good Puka can be. I think they just managed to get the best out of some of these, Jordan Whittington and Kanata Mumpfield. We'll see how he goes. It's a bit of a thin room, certainly, but if that nucleus stays healthy, then that's really strong, and that's going to do great stuff. Some nice pieces on the line. Kevin Dotson obviously came into his own when he left the Steelers to go to the Rams. Really, really built up his game and looks fantastic there. You got Steve Avila on the other side on guard, who's also a fantastic player. And then just this defense. I mean, we wondered what this defense would be when Aaron Donald left, and some of the people that have just rocked up and made it as strong as it is: Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Braden Fisk, Poona Ford. These kids are just doing absolute a world-class job. And then with the additions that you've got now in this team, as I've just said, some interesting secondary pieces, as I say, add in the KC boys, but I quite like Cam Kinchins in his early days as a Rams player, and it's a very, very strong starting lineup. The depth is interesting, and I think that would be worth talking about in depth, funnily enough. Just the nucleus of a really, really strong, really dominant team that I think should be one of the favourites to take home the whole thing this season. Does anyone have any particularly strong arguments against that?
Can I just talk about the O-line? And it's not really a massive indictment of this O-line, because the O-line is great. However, there is a story that's been circulating about Alaric Jackson, former Hawkeye. Shout out to Hawkeye Matt. But he's got a bit of a availability alarm. He was arrested on suspicion of domestic battery on 9th of June. But it does say the DA will not pursue felony charges, but lesser charges. But it's the NFL discipline, as always, remains unresolved. And in 2024, he had personal conduct suspension. So it probably is looking like a live possibility of
this is completely typical of this off season, in that I hadn't even heard about that. There's so much terrible stuff going on with NFL players in this off season, and that had completely bypassed me.
Which one? Sorry,
Alaric Jackson, the left tackle.
Alaric Jackson.
What's he? Oh no, yes. Sorry, he was in deep crap just before the he blew up last week with Terry Arnold, right?
Right.
But he's kind of I think because again, tackles escape the limelight in the game. They kind of escape the limelight in the crime cycle sphere a little bit.
And I don't know how much allegedly and whatever, but he's in doo-doo. So Quessenbury is the backup. He's not been amazing, has he? He's had some issues. So there is some question marks there, but obviously, we don't know how many games he's going to miss. Maybe if it's only 4 or whatever, it's not going to be a major problem. And then the secondary changes, they replace him with good players, but they've lost a bit of cohesion there. No, they had lost Kobe Durant, Akilo Witherspoon, and Roger McCreary. Probably actually upgraded. Well, Trent McDuffie's a better player than any of them.
I'm gonna say.
But some of that communication, that's going to take a little bit of time. So it could be a slow start. Given
they don't care though, they're going to make the playoffs. And that's
they'll make the playoffs. And I love Nate Landman at left inside linebacker. He's a guy, and then they've got Dave's guys. You remember Grant Stewart from what year was that? 2020, I'm going to guess. The long-haired. Every team needs a long-haired special teams demon, right? Flying down the field. We had Ross Ventrone for a long time. Well, the Rams have got Grant Stewart, a new incomer, and I think he can become a fan favorite for them. But yeah, obviously, yes, I agree. Rams better than Steelers. Probably let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I solidly agree. The Rams are way better. I don't disagree with anything you said. Are the Rams cheating? Yeah, we'll save that conversation for a couple of weeks into the season. All right, then. Well, let's jump to another team, shall we?
Okay, let's take it to the 49ers then. And I will take this. We'll move over to the electrical substation, which is the real story here, right? They bring in Mike Evans. How concerned are we? Oh, why haven't I got the 49ers stadium saved on my...
Oh, the substation's taken it out.
Substation's taken it out.
Oh, my God. Right, I'm going to have to do a live search. Why... what's going on there? How much is that true?
The fact that it actually got investigated is interesting enough. When it first came out, I just thought it was nonsense. But the fact that it actually got seriously looked into, it raises some questions. It really does. And they have been really battered by injury, so it's not completely out of the question that it might be a thing.
Well, Mike Evans
knows,
Mike Evans has not been completely injury free, and he's the big addition. But I think the real story, and it's been going on for a year now, and we're all tired of it, and it sort of almost involves the Steelers, but is Brandon Ayuk. Still, the Brandon Ayuk saga continues. He's 28. It feels like this has been going on since he was like 25. This damn thing.
He's gone. Well, not even just from this team. He's gone from this stratosphere. It seems. I'm not touching him if I'm the Commanders at this point.
He's an untradeable asset.
He's not even on our lads here. He's still technically
and I want that known.
He's still technically a 49er, isn't he? So
yeah, they won't cut him.
No.
Fair enough, because at this point he's tanked his value to nothing, and so they're like, well, fine, you just sit.
His latest rant. Did you see this? Calling John Lynch creepy and Kyle Shanahan a toddler. Did you see this one? Apparently, John Lynch came to see him at his front door, and he didn't answer the door and just said, "Why is that creepy white guy stood at my doorbell?" I mean, he wants to get cut, right? I mean, we know the story. I'm not going to dwell on it too long. He wants to play in the Commanders. But now it's got wild, right? If he doesn't show up, he jeopardizes more cash than any of us will ever see in our lifetime. And now the 49ers could try to recoup about $15 million back from him. Never mind the $27 million he's due this year, but $15 million he was paid last year by voiding his contract, right? Because he's currently signed to a 4-year, $120 million deal signed in 24 with a $23 million signing bonus. So, I mean, how much is friendship worth? It's going to cost him, $30 million, something in that region. So I don't know, man. I really seriously hope this isn't another AB situation, and we're going to find out later that both of their brains are being dissected for CTE and whatever it is. It's just grim when this stuff starts to happen and your best players start to act like total alleged oddballs. But
it's sad, isn't it? Yeah, and we all had that. I'm sure we've all had that one girl that we fancied, and then it just turns out she's an absolute train wreck. And thank God we didn't go for that. And that's Ayuk and the Steelers right there. Like, I was fully on board. Yeah.
So let's talk about the team though, because he's probably not going to be on it. So the key structural change is real. Robert Saleh left for Tennessee. Raheem Morris now calling the defense. Matt Eberflus added as assistant head coach / defense assistant. Was their defense that good last year? I don't know.
They had a lot of injuries.
They did, that. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's so hard to evaluate this team because they're always injured.
It's been like that for a while.
That electrical substation is doing all the heavy lifting here.
But hey, that electrical substation did not shoot Ricky Pearsall, so
that's true.
Unless
who
it
shot
did.
Ricky Pearsall? It's like the who shot Mr. Burns of the 49ers.
Was it the electrical substation?
And then we've got to talk about Run CMC. I mean, one of the best running backs, if not the best running back of the last decade.
Do you mean Eli Heidenreich's bitch boy?
Right. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he's gone over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, what the hell? He's led the league in total touches twice, posted 100...
Sorry?
Okay.
Total accidental hit.
Oh, okay, an accident. I was like, how does that relate? Posted 122 catches in 2025, his most since 2019. So last year was good, but we've seen usually a good year is superseded by a bad year or a bad couple of years with injuries, and he's getting there. But if he can keep this going, he is in a rare pantheon of running backs to perform into his 30s. We're a little bit spoilt because Henry is so recent. Henry turned 30 in January of 2024. So Christian McCaffrey just turned 30. But Henry turned 30 in 2024, posted 2,114 yards from scrimmage that season. The only player recently to do that, other than him, was Tiki Barber in his 30s, who had 2,390 and 2,127 in 2005 and 2006. So he was the last before Henry to do it. So can Christian McCaffrey come back? There's only two other players older than 30 to go 2,000 yards in the history of the NFL. That's Priest Holmes, Walter Payton. I mean, that's great company to be in. So he is on the verge of real true greatness. Obviously a Hall of Famer. Obviously in the the conversation for best, most exciting running backs in the league ever. But just what he does post 30 does matter, I think, for his legacy in terms of where he is in that kind of top five kind of.
You think it matters
time.
for his Hall of Fame case? Or you think
No, I think he's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's more about where he ranks within the kind of Hall of Fame greatest
pantheon.
running backs. Yeah, the pantheon.
Yeah.
Which is a nice
he
place
gonna
to be.
Above or below?
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
He's a great player. I mean, and one of those players that kind of I've been here for his entire career now. One of the first legendary players like that, right? When I think about some of the legends that have retired in my, the Peyton Mannings, the Troy Polamalu's, like these great players or whatever were iconic. But I wasn't around when they were drafted. I wasn't one of the first players that. I mean, I've spoken in recent years about this. This has happened here and there, obviously, with guys with shorter careers. But yeah, as you see these guys with the real legends, Christian McCaffrey. I remember the day he was drafted. I remember the conversation about, can he run between the tackles though? Has he got the heft? Like, is he worth the top 5 pick?
One of those players I remember. Do you remember when you were kind of early draft days? You're sort of like watching highlight cut up clips. I remember watching McCaffrey highlight from Stanford, going, Jesus, this guy looks good. My God, white running back. That's wild. He looks crazy. And
of course, that was why Gav saw him straight away.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of an outlier, isn't it? A position dominated mainly by black players. It's like, wow, okay, that's different. I'm not seeing.
I'm like a fish with bait, Gav.
Yeah,
I've
seen
the chum. I've seen the chum, and I'm going in.
Yeah. So just nice to see that story complete. But anyway, let's talk about the rest of the team. I mean, injury risk last year or carried on. Kittle, Bosa, Michael Williams, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey himself, and now Mike Evans. So this is the team. The team's good on paper, but just there's some risks with this substation humming away there. But I love the addition of Mike Evans. I think that's ideal for this team to move on from Ayuk. And they're going for cheap. 2 years, $42 million. Clearly wanted to play for a better team. What were you going to say?
Yeah. I was going to say, can I just give you my kind of top level thoughts of the Niners as they consist right now? It is just very much that it's a kind of a top heavy team. Like there's a lot of recognizable star names that we all know. They're not like kind of quite in that transition period yet, but they are in probably the final years of this core nucleus that they need to get the most out of. They have got to the mountaintop multiple times and obviously have been felled by the Chiefs and, whoever else, the Rams and various people in the NFC that has been tough. I just kind of view it like it's a team that's being dragged probably to slightly above where the roster alone. It's like one of these teams where, when we think about, like, we look at some of the teams like the Jags or the Bears that are like, wow, this roster's stacked, but like they don't seem to quite maximize on the potential most years. I feel like the Niners are like the opposite of that, right? Like I think that while they have some great players, I actually think if you look at the depth of the roster, it's a little bit questionable. It's like a little bit like not fully there, especially when you consider the division they're in and the competing. And it does feel like the Niners for a while now have been just trying to keep up with the Joneses in this really, really tough division. And you got to feel for it. I mean, it's 3 teams that do not want to be third in what is, undeniably the best division in football right now. But I just kind of think that this is a team where the coaching and a great GM, sorry, even if he is a creepy white guy standing at your door, Brandon Ayuk, I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan just are probably dragging them to a slightly higher than what this roster deserves. Do you agree with that, or am I talking crazy?
I think so.
I think you're kind of on the money. It's like a extreme version of what Tomlin was doing with the Steelers. Really,
sure,
being able to drag them to something better than they probably are. The depth is a concern, certainly, and we see that with when these injuries do occur, who comes in. But some interesting additions, through bringing in like the likes of Christian Kirk and as you say, Mike Evans as well, but Dre Greenlaw in there as well, even Nate Hobbs. And then some, interesting draft picks like Romello Height and Dijon Striblin, which everybody was a little bit surprised at how high they were taking Stribbling. But actually, if Mike Evans does have any injury concerns, then a young player, with Dijon Stribling's, kind of height and his play style, I think that's actually possibly quite a shrewd move. So,
Oh, bit of Mark Hansen bias there. Obviously, because you love Stribbling. I think that's
Guy's my sleeper, but yeah.
widely seen sleeper exactly. Widely seen as the worst pick of the whole draft by any team.
I beg to differ. It was high. Come on, the Jags took that tight end who nobody bloody heard of. And that
the
is
first pick of the second round.
Hang on.
First pick,
let's put it another way.
First pick of the second round is serious capital.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say it's the highest value pick that was used on a guy where everybody went, what? Who?
And they had like 24 hours or 12 hours to think about it.
That's the weird thing. But I'll say this, Dijon Striblin, if you look into him, and again, mainly as a fantasy asset is the reason why I've done this, but it kind of an interesting guy, an interesting pick. Maybe it's going to be a scheme thing where we actually see this guy pop off a little. So we'll see. I mean, there's an opening for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, they wanted to add speed, and they got it. But it's just, it's more than value. If he was in the third or fourth round, everyone would be going great pickup and saying what you're saying, Mark. It's the draft capital, not the player himself. But they also brought in Christian Kirk. Ricky Pearsall's due for a breakout eventually, right, Mark? He's got to happen.
Damn straight. Yeah.
And
yeah, that's the thing. Stribling's not even my favourite receiver on this
right.
in this call.
And Evans is obviously, one of the top 10 receivers in the league, or certainly one of the top 10 boundary and deep threat guys. Can be a bit hot and cold, but a real threat. So this receiving core is solid, it's strong. They're not going to see Stribbling at first, so not a problem. I've got more concerns about the defense. As I said, Salah leaving, that's going to change things. Now, I love the roster from the top down to the middle linebacker. So you've got Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, the greengrocer. I was massively high on him. Oza Adigizua, a new signing that you didn't mention in that fleet of incomers over from Dallas. Interesting, sort of. He was involved in the Max Crosby situation. Dallas were trying to ship Odigizua to the Raiders in terms of Crosby. That didn't happen. Then Crosby went to the Ravens. Then that fell through. And by that point, Odigizua had gone to the 49ers. So it's a sort of a what if moment. But I think he's underrated. I think he's a good defensive tackle that I don't think Dallas should have really let go. It was a money thing. He was on a big money deal, right? Nick Bosa, obviously, really, really elite traits guy. Dre Greenlaw, as you mentioned, great guy. Fred Warner, great guy. And then it starts to kind of fall apart a little bit. But I don't know. You tell me. Ronaldo Green, some people seem to like him, but I think there's been rumors about him being unsettled and wanting out. Jair Brown, Dante Whitner/Hittner was calling him out on a podcast. Saying they've had a spat going back and forth. Obviously, Dante Hittner, one of those Super Bowl playing, not winning safeties for those 49er runs back in Colin Kaepernick days, saying he's what did he say here? Calling him out on his podcast, saying he's delusional about his 2025 performance. He isn't reading offenses, not seeing plays with his peripheral vision, getting out of position. Jair Brown coming back at him. It's been pretty ugly in terms of an off season for that kind of social media stuff. Malik Mustafa was quite nice. Lenoir, people like. You like Upton Stout, but just to me that secondary seems a little bit like there's no real dogs back there. It's reliant on coaching and communication, and that can work. But I'd say that's maybe an area where there's no real leaders, perhaps.
Yeah, I like Ronaldo Green a lot coming out, but if he is unsettled, then obviously that doesn't help. And I do like Malik Mustafa as well. But yeah, it's a good but not great secondary, really, on paper, isn't it? And again, if any of those do go down, then you're kind of relying on some a couple of no names, and then guys like Nate Hobbs. But Ephesians Price Sock is a good draft pickup, but otherwise, it's a concern back there. And look right down that depth chart. Is that Eli Apple? I see right
No.
in the. Oh my
Mrs.
goodness.
Apple.
No.
Mrs. Apple,
Mrs.
no.
Apple.
No, what are you doing? Oh my God, I'm not pulling up that picture. Jesus, that is staying off the stream. Yeah, I think
Yes.
what this defense looks to me like is they are expecting pressure up front and a lot of movement from the linebackers, and the secondary will be just fine. They'll be just fine because the quarterback hasn't got time to throw. I think that's what the plan is. Yeah.
What can we get a temperature check on your boy Brock Purdy? Where we're at with Brock now? How many years into it now? What is this? Year 4, 5 for Brock Purdy?
And at this point, he's exceeding expectations still. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, massively exceeding expectations. It's just since going to the Super Bowl and obviously having a bit of a rough time with it, and Mac Jones came in while he was off injured, and Mac Jones did pretty well in that time. But Brock Purdy really came back in and really showed off what he's capable of as well. So yeah, as long as he stays healthy, I mean, Purdy is still an excellent fit for this team. And
Perfect.
For Shanahan offense.
Game manager is seems like a diss, but it really isn't. And you look at the grades on PFF. I mean, solid. They've been steady. Not necessarily improving, but not getting worse. I just think he's the perfect guy for this offense, like you say.
Let me say this for Purdy, because I sense that like there's this thawing of excitement, and I think a lot of it's to do with, he is still the Mr. Irrelevant, the 7th round pick, of course, and that's the expectation that he's competing against. But he's also now competing against his second contract, right? Because now he's been signed to a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not really this inherent benefit that you have that you play in the 7th round rookie, right? And it's interesting when I think, again, you talk about the people that don't appreciate football. We talk to them like this is another interesting thing to bring up to those people that like, people talk about the draft being silly or whatever, all these things that doesn't come naturally to British fans. Brock Purdy, I would say, is somewhat comparable to a Baker Mayfield, right? Like, not necessarily, although I mean a little bit in terms of style. I mean, Baker Mayfield is a gamer, and I think Brock Purdy's certainly got a bit of gamer to him, although he's a bit more of a game manager, like you say, Gav, than a Baker.
They can both run around and sling it.
Yeah, exactly. They're both little dudes that run around and sling it. But one came in as literally the first pick in the draft, and one came in as literally the last pick in the draft. And I would say they're somewhat comparable in terms of talent, and yet they have had these bizarrely different experiences to almost get to like round about the same place. Of course, Baker now somehow can't get paid by the book still, but broadly they've found themselves like taking these twisting turns, more so on the Baker side, of course. But even though he was the first pick and Brock Purdy was the last pick, Brock has had this almost like smooth, like elevated ride to stardom and the second contract. Whereas, of course, Baker, the story of famous bouncing between the Panthers.
I'd say
and
the
Rams
major difference between them is their character.
Interesting. Talk about that.
Well, don't you think that Brock Purdy seems a nice,
Sure.
reserved,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
calm, gentle man, whereas Baker seems like a kind of gnarly,
Bit more abrasive.
abrasive, arrogant, in a good way.
But it's interesting because wouldn't you normally, like traditionally, like when you hear the talking heads and the analysts speak and stuff, and we watch the the John Gruden QB school, this and the other. Traditionally, if I was to take the names out of this and give you that like usual shadow thing where I describe the two quarterbacks, wouldn't you think that most analysts would say they wanted the Baker quarterback that's like a bit jazzed up and like wants to, you think about the Baker runs and like he wants to go out and die for the team. And
Well,
like,
you're getting into the Myers-Briggs thing, aren't you? That
Sure,
most
yeah.
of the successful quarterbacks are, what is it, ENTP?
Probably the opposite of me.
Yeah, what is that? Like extroverted, intuitive.
I'm like INF.
It's perceiving, and then I can't remember the other one, which is Tom Brady.
I think
Basically,
I
Tom
think
Brady is
I'm
the
INTP.
prototype character of what they look for, which
Yeah.
is that like a leader of men, bounce back ability, but yet perceptive of aware of his surroundings. This character that is almost like a field general, right? I'm not sure either of those cats, Purdy or Mayfield, are that. They're either side of that, so it's hard to say. Maybe that's why they're not having the success that Brady did.
Well, yeah. Will they have the success that Brady Russell as hard as backup fullback on the.
We shall see.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see.
so,
It's only time will
so
tell.
we're agreed, are we? That the
Yeah, I
49ers
think
are
so.
better.
Yes.
They're better now. We'll see what the
Well,
substation says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that, and I think the coaching is.
It's coming for you, 49ers. You know it.
Just a reminder for me here, because Ketz has popped up in the chat on YouTube.
Isn't
just
he,
with an
isn't he on
in
holiday
an
with his
apple
wife?
emoji. Always got time to pop in. But Ketz did actually send over his side of things, and I haven't been keeping up, so I do apologise, Ketz.
Oh
but
wow!
I
He's
can,
checked in on you and you've failed him.
Ooh.
there's nothing controversial here. He has agreed with us on all three of the teams that we've.
Do we need to
had
catch
so
Ketz
far.
up on the first hour of the show? What's he missed? Gav has made 2 racist comments already, I think.
He has not.
That was the main thing I wanted to drop in.
That is
I'm just baiting Gav more and more as the episode goes on. We're gonna get him by the end, Ketz.
Yeah, big beta. Anyway, some say you're a master at it. Anyway,
No.
right. So we're all agreed that the 49ers are
All right.
better than the Steelers.
Yes, the Cardinals.
Okay, the
Whose turn is it?
Cardinals.
Is it
Now,
me? I can't remember.
it is the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals is a shit show. Now,
Is this the worst team in the league? Let's
well,
start there.
it's between them and the Browns, or the Jets, maybe. It's probably the Jets, isn't it? But I don't mean necessarily right now, but just in terms of like the run of crap that's happened to them.
I was going to say because you were lording that over me saying that the Jets were worse than the Dolphins last. In
Yeah,
the
I just mean
so-
in pain rankings and terribleness.
Yeah, in pain rankings, yeah, the Cardinals have got to
Cardinals
be
have been up there. Cardinals close to my heart. I've got relatives in Tucson. You know, if the Cardinals were in Phoenix, not in St. Louis, when I was picking my team back in the late '80s, I'll probably be a Cardinals fan. I've got to be honest, because there was no Arizona team back then. So I've dodged that bullet. But someone that didn't dodge that bullet is a good friend of mine, Aaron. We're in a couple of fantasy leagues with him, well, at least one, and I think Ketz is in a different one with him. Good guy, and long-suffering Cardinals fan. I thought it'd be much better to hear from him, because we can all sit here and dog on the Cardinals about how bad they are. But I just thought let's turn it over to Aaron and get the experiences of a Cardinals fan. So here you go. Here's Aaron.
So I find it a bit tricky being a Cardinals fan, full stop. When I first got into supporting the Cardinals, we had John Skelton at QB. Yeah, it wasn't good, but having Larry Fitz there, having Patrick Peterson as a rookie was just dynamite stuff to watch. Bruce Arians building that team into what it became. 2015 was probably the best season the Cardinals have had in a long time. We beat the Packers in the playoffs. But we got absolutely obliterated in the championship game. It's heartbreaking, but pure Cardinal stuff. Since then, excitement of Kyler Murray joining the team, having D-Hop join us, JJ Watt. Some of these players, Honey Badger obviously left, but has had many great players at the Cardinals. But right now, I don't see anyone really that I can be totally on board with. Question marks on Marv Harrison Jr., whether he's ever going to turn into the elite wide receiver. Buda Baker, he's on the turn, shown complete loyalty, truth be told. Losing Kyler Murray is huge, whether Cardinals fans like to admit it or not. When he's on his A game, he can be unstoppable. However, he's only played one full season. I can't remember the last time he had more than 15 touchdowns in a season. The idea of Kyler Murray is actually better than what we got. Cardinals now have their Jacoby Brissett. I think he broke the NFL record for the most pass completions in a game. But it's all just like 8-yard passing, mostly to McBride. I really don't see the Arizona Cardinals competing at all the next 2 to 3 years. I hope we can maybe get 7 wins, but I don't think that's even remotely close. We'll be lucky to walk away with 3 or 4 next season. That might even be optimistic. I think we've got one of the hardest schedules next year. I just don't understand what's going on at the Cardinals. We know draft position is one thing, but taking an RB at number 3, which has obviously budget-wise been slammed by a lot of organisations and a lot of fans, whether we are going to tank for a QB, I just don't think Manning will even be in the conversation to join a choice like the Arizona Cardinals. I think we are seen across the league as that much of a joke. And until we get an elite coach, I don't think will ever be relevant. And Michael Bidwell, he comes across like a really nice guy. It just seems like the guy's cheap. Doesn't know how to actually run an organisation. We seem to fill the stadium every week. They absolutely loves the Cardinals, but oh man, I don't really know where the franchise is going. It's pretty depressing right now being a Cardinals fan. Also, just another example of why we are such a joke of a new organisation is you look around, right, and you've got division rivals like the Rams currently holding on to last year's offensive MVP in Matt Stafford, signing the defensive MVP, Myles Garrett. The Arizona Cardinals were being held ransom by a striking starting quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. He wants more money. And it's just like, dude, can't remember a single game that you actually won last year. It looks like you padded your stats anyway. Seriously, on what planet do you think the Cardinals are ever going to pay you a fat contract to stick around right now? We've got Gardner Minshew and Carson Beck as well. And I would say they're all on the same level, even though Beck's a rookie. If we lose the first 4 games with Brissett under center, I'm going to say sling your hook, put Beck in or Minshew, either one of them. Just ride out the season, see what the hell happens. God, it's just bleak. It just absolutely sends me into a pit of misery.
Can we just cut that last bit? just absolute, just the despair of the Huff and the just sends me into a bit of misery.
It's so sad, but also quite amusing, but sad. I feel
now,
for Aaron.
I want to pick up on. I'm sorry, what was the name of the gentleman?
It's Aaron.
Aaron. Yes, Aaron. Aaron. I need to pick up on one thing Aaron said. Way too dismissive and harsh of Jacoby Brissett, and I understand, I guess, why from a Cardinals fan perspective, because I actually think that Jacoby Brissett's base level competence is a bad thing for where the Cardinals want to go, and I think that's probably pretty obvious to most people. But here's the problem I have with it: is that it's not Jacoby Brissett's fault. Jacoby Brissett is a quarterback who was drafted in the mid rounds one year by the Patriots, and then has ever since played pretty damn admirably everywhere he's been. And this goes to what we were just saying about the differences in routes you get as a quarterback, right? It's all just defined by where you get drafted, really, and not necessarily always your talent. And I'm not saying Jacoby Brissett is, the next Tom Brady or whatever, but whenever I watch Jacoby Brissett, he's a talented, sort of really good floor level quarterback who he called it padding stats. I would say bringing the Cardinals into any sense of relevance. Like, brother, you need some stat padding when the best you've got is no stats. Like, Jacoby Brissett was single-handedly making the Cardinals competitive in any way. Without Jacoby Brissett, they literally would have just been like a road bump over other teams. I just think it's really harsh to be saying how dare he hold out and look for more money and what? Well, I'm not being funny. They're literally trying to use this guy like a sponge. They want to lose, and so they've found this situation where they've got this guy they think is just good enough to appear competent to the ticket holders, but not good enough to win them games with this terrible roster. And they're asking this poor guy who's never had a chance in the league, who's been literally used and pump and dumped all over the league. And now here he is, trapped with this terrible Cardinals team, trying to make a little bit of scratch because he's being underpaid by about $10 million versus every other starting quarterback in the league, while he's paid to haul this carcass up a hot Phoenix Hill. And this guy's turf him out after 4 games. I won't stand for it. I declare vengeance.
Well,
on Aaron,
I think you're being a little. Yes, I think that's the outside perspective. Obviously,
I see you, Jacoby.
Aaron has watched every game, last year, and I think it's this. It feels like if there was a Cardinals UK podcast, Aaron would play the Kets role of just wanting things to be better in the long run.
You're right, yeah, just blow it up. I don't care.
Blow it up. Let's get a better quarterback. Let's get a better situation. Like he's talking there, Bidwell. Let's get a better owner. Let's get a better coach. Let's just move things along. Brissett,
and I get that, but do you agree that it's not Jacoby Brissett's fault, nor is it his job to make the Cards worse?
He's not blaming Brissett. He's blaming.
He was being. No, he wasn't blaming just Brissett for the problem, but he was very much saying don't hold out, bro, because what do you think you are? Well, he's the best player you have in that position. That's who he is.
I think you're overrating Brissett. Firstly,
overrating Brissett versus what? Gardner Minshew's my boy. So don't come on.
But as he said, they're all equal. They're not
all equal.
they're just-
Jacoby Brissett is orders of magnitude better than all of the other people on that roster. I'm sorry. Again,
Herein lies the problem. You're arguing about Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew.
I get it, I get that's the problem.
Really,
but I'm not coming. And again, I get.
I know. You're defending Brissett in terms of
you've got to look at it like
do.
Like imagine if Brissett was just drafted as our backup quarterback 3 years ago and remained there. The expectation would be totally different. It'd be like, oh yeah, like cool, like this developmental backup quarterback is coming along nicely, like. But no, for some reason, because this guy's been tasked with helming your garbage franchise, now you're hounding him out.
It's just so low ceiling, isn't it? It's just.
Do you know what it is? It's low class from a low class organization like the Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly. It's just no. You're saying it's low class from Aaron. I do think it's just so dull. Like it's just mediocrity.
I feel the opposite. I'm more hyped up about this team than I have been about any other team.
Okay, that's bizarre. But it's just the Washington Generals. It's just a man, a jag, a functional quarterback that's been passed on. I mean, you look at his
Isaac Seumalo is on this team. Take that back.
you pull up his. He's played for New England for a year, then the Colts for 4 years, then the Dolphins, then the Browns. Then the Commanders, then back to New England, and then last year with the Cardinals. I mean, this is Josh Johnson. This is a guy that's going to have a long career, be flip between being a backup and a starter, not quite starter level, better than a backup. That's not great for a fan.
Here's the thing.
You're
right.
This is Ketz's argument. Brissett is the guy that's going to take you out of, Aaron was saying lucky to get 3 wins, but he's the kind of quarterback that's going to take you out of contention for Arch Manning.
But no. Let me, again, he's the kind of quarterback who's going to take this team out of contention for an Arch Manning. If you put Jacoby Brissett on the Seahawks, he might win the Super Bowl. I swear to God, I'm confident in saying that. That's not me being hyperbolic. You would have called me crazy for saying that about Sam Darnold last year. Jacoby Brissett is every bit the quarterback that Sam Darnold was a few years into his career. There's no reason to think that Jacoby Brissett... This is my problem that I have with QB development in this league. It's like, because he plays for the Cardinals and we don't want the Cardinals to win, the assumption is like, well, okay, we need to throw this guy in the trash. It's like, this is insane. What if, right, and I know this is an absolutely crazy idea, Cardinals fans, don't shoot me. What if you took this promising, still kind of middle-aged, like, you got a good run here, probably as long as you would have with Sam Darnold, and you build around this guy that showed actually a lot of promise with guys like Michael Wilson, who you drafted in 2023. But no, because we don't want to appear like we're covering up for our mistakes with the Marvin Harrison. Did I say Marvin Harrison? I meant Michael Wilson. Because we don't want to appear like we're covering up for our Marvin Harrison mistake, drafting him in the first round in 2024, we're going to just, not pay attention to the fact that Michael Wilson looked like one of the best receivers in the league when he played with Jacoby Brissett. It's like this thing where it's like we have to just pretend and restart and find the next guy. It's like, dude, guys, if we learn anything from the last few years in this league, it should be that the guy might be in your building. Build around him.
Right, but this is what Aaron's getting at. They've got a problem with ownership, right? They need to extend Michael Wilson.
You might have a problem with the fans.
Well, maybe. I mean, my cousin's fan, he's problematic.
Sorry, Aaron, I've really come for you on this one.
Yeah, you have. Michael Wilson went over 1,000 yards last year. It's contract time. They need to extend him. Left tackle, Paris Johnson, first-round pick, good player. Again, need to work out a deal. Like, and are they just, as Aaron said, are they just going to let these guys walk because they're too cheap and they don't want to? I mean, they've got salary cap and everything, but they just don't seem to tie up their best players. Trey McBride. I mean, he's a top 5 tight end in the league, right? Is he even top 3? I mean, he's up there, but are they going to let him walk? Jeremiah Love. I mean, they've got some good quality here. They've got some stuff, right? I mean, like you said, Kendrick Bourne. All right, no one's excited by Kendrick Bourne, but he's a decent receiver. If Harrison can put it together, Michael Wilson, that's a decent
he's
wide
a good
receiver
3,
core.
yeah, definitely.
Devin Duvernay on special teams. Simi Fajoko's a good blocker. There's not.
Oh, there's him as Smith Marset.
Yeah,
I wonder where he went.
Former Hawkeye. And then you look down on the defense. Walter Nolan yet to get going, but he's got some potential. Caleb Proctor, their new DT, unfortunately tore his meniscus in OTAs, probably out for the whole season. So that takes away some depth there. But Andrew Billings is on this team. That's that guy that seems to keep playing, even though despite he fell in the draft, he had a Aaron Rodgers-esque fall. But I mean, Josh Sweat is a very good pass rusher. But where else is getting pass rush on this team?
Well, who's the lad that they got rid of? I can't remember if it was last season or the season before.
JJ Watt.
What? No. I think he went to the Jaguars. What's his name? I'm trying to remember. Because I was he was like one of my favorite Cardinals players. So when I was watching him, I was just like, this guy's all over the place and doing great stuff.
Josh Allen?
No. I'll think about it. But yeah, carry on.
I'm trying to work
Says
it out.
carry
here.
on, and then everybody remains silent. Josh Hines? No, I said that.
No.
Josh Allen. That's what I thought it was.
Armstead? No.
Don't know who he means.
I don't know who you mean.
I know what I mean. I will find it out, but yeah.
I also want to say, Aaron possibly should do an Arizona Cardinals podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Again, I've always been like, I think because of the way we began, sort of instinctually against this idea that we all need to like group up and make like a 32-team strong network. Like, so if you want to do that, fine. But like, I think we're happy with what we're doing. But what I am happy to do is like find people that we enjoy talking to and hanging out with, like the Bills guys, right? Or who are the other? Not always team specific, but the guys over at
Well, we've got Gal.
Yeah, of course, he's our Patriots consigliere. Yeah,
we've got Rand for coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the Good Teams Win Great Teams cover podcast. Shout out to them. Like when we encounter people that we like to talk to, the Lions guys. Yeah, when we encounter people we like to talk to, I like to engage with them, and so that would be good to have a Cardinals podcast that we can reach out to.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've run its course here. We managed to get some. I wasn't expecting any debate at all about this, so we got something out of it. So we'll see something. I think that maybe that's the interest. Like, can they have a winning season? I guess is the real question.
I don't feel like I got a good like feedback on my point. Does anyone agree with me that maybe a team like the Cardinals should restructure its thinking entirely and say, actually, rather than just trying to tank every year, maybe we try and build around this quarterback that looks kind of good?
Well, yeah, but they don't want to pay him, and I guess that's what Aaron's saying as well. Like,
here's the other advantage: if you pay Jacoby Brissett what he's asking for, which is probably a very, very low end starting quarterback contract, you're paying very little compared to the other teams for quarterback again, and you can go out and improve the team around him. It's a win-win. I just don't get it. Like these bad teams, I get it sometimes, right? I do understand sometimes, like when Kets would like us to, finish a little bit worse so we have a better chance of getting a quarterback. But it's like, what are we trying to do here? You aren't like this team with a great infrastructure that's going to automatically succeed once Arch Manning descends into the organization. Like, have some realistic, like, build. Anyway, let's not get into it. It's not the Cardinals podcast, like you said. We're better than the Cardinals.
I mean, he is savagely underpaid. Base salary of $4.8
That's what I mean.
million.
It's crazy. It's insane. They want him to start for this for 2 seasons and like just be a punching bag for everyone. I am so on Jacoby Brissett's side on this. He shouldn't play for a dime less than $10 million a year.
Anyway. No, I see your point. I mean, he's 34 years old. He's a bridge.
He's 34. Holy crap! He's a little bit older than I thought he was.
I mean, he's a bridge in like one of those like Russian bridges into Crimea that's been hit by multiple drone strikes.
Okay, so he's trying to get his paycheck. Okay,
yeah, he wants to get paid. Let's see. Can we see how much he
changes the equation a little bit? But I still think you should. I don't know that you want to be tanking. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Dennis Gardeck. That's who I was thinking of.
Niche weed smoking NFL reference that no one else is going to get.
Dude, Dennis Gardeck was awesome. They should have held on to him.
Where is he?
He did tear his ACL. He's at Jags now.
He is at the Jags. He wasn't a starter, so that's right.
He played well. He had 8 starts last year, 48 tackles, 2.5 sacks. Then signed a 2-year extension with the Jags as well. But he tore his ACL in his last season with the Cardinals, so I think that's why they
31 years old. How is he that old? I don't remember him being that old. Anyway, right. So we're agreed, right? Steelers better. Should we move on?
Yeah, and they probably are the worst team in the NFL. And Kets also agrees.
I'll jump in next then because we're going to go over to the NFC South, and I'll take the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, what a drop in! I mean, I know we just talked about the Cardinals, but Christ, what a drop in quality we're about to talk about here.
I was going to say, is it a drop? I think we might have actually just slightly bumped ourselves up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear your point though from the division perspective, absolutely, yes. and the fall into the. I did enjoy. I don't know. You guys probably won't have seen it because you famously have dropped off, but. On Heed the Call this week, someone wrote in or called in, I should say, and said, was trying to argue that the NFC South is not the worst division in football, and it's because the teams are so good that they play against each other and they all have poor records and they beat each other up.
It's definitely competitive.
Yes, and it's getting
More
more
so last season.
competitive.
Yeah.
Is the thing. But
I mean, it's been
think
competitively bad, like bad
Right,
teams
that's the
compete,
thing.
and now it's getting competitively better, like medium level.
Competitively mediocre, I
Yeah.
think is yeah.
Well, that's
Where-
a nice segue, to be honest, to the Falcons. Is competitively
Lovely
Yeah.
mediocre.
Yeah.
I was going to say, where the hell is the parking for the Falcon Stadium? What the?
Isn't it-
It's there.
Oh
but
wait, no,
it's-
that's the LA stadium I'm looking at. Why am I so far behind the live thing? Hang on, sorry.
Well, that's where England famously played last night.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium looks crazy
Mercedes-Benz
from the
Stadium.
top.
Where's the parking, dude?
I
England
see
fans,
it.
hit us up. Where did you park?
I
If
see
you
it.
went
It's all
to,
over there.
It's
This-
that's. I mean, any other NFL stadium around the league, you've got massive parking lots. I guess that's it, but that is just tiny.
I've got a tailgate somewhere.
Yeah, where did
Well,
you
it's-
tailgate?
It's telling Atlanta fans that the first thing we've got onto with your team is the car park situation.
Well, it's important. Look at that. It's in the middle of like suburbia. Where the hell do you
Well,
park?
it's in the middle of the city, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kinda. And
Wow.
then and then it falls. Yeah, okay, it's at the edge of the city, I guess. Yeah.
Ooh, what's that?
Um,
Nasty warning there on my computer. Anyway, sorry, yeah, distraction, but
Probably
yeah.
like just all over the place. to
Maybe
be
it's a
honest,
metro. You have to. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a park and ride situation. You have to get the metro in. I
Get
don't
in
know.
touch, let us know.
Yeah, Falcons fans. Have you been?
I'll ask the people at work. They probably know because they everybody at my work works in Columbus.
I
so
need
it's
an
like right
answer
next to
here.
us.
I'm concerned. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see
I'll,
any
I'll,
parking.
I'll do some. I'll do some check. I'll do some checks. I'll
I have a question about the Falcons.
Sorry if
and
you've got
I-
motion
was-
sickness on the right. So
Well, just want to see if you agree with this, and I wonder if Si agrees with this. For the most part here, are the Falcons the team with the biggest vibes to reality difference in the NFL? Because I always feel like when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, just purely from a vibes perspective, the stadium, the uniforms,
yeah.
the team name in itself, where
Trap
they're
music.
based in Georgia. You know, this team feels like a team that should be one of the top echelon NFL teams constantly and consistently. And yet they're in this position that they're in at the moment where it just nothing seems to ever click for them. I feel like they just the biggest gap between the great vibes and the shitty reality that they have. I don't think there's a bigger one in the NFL for me personally.
and they look cool. The uniforms are cool, right? One of
Sorry.
the
Yeah,
are you
exactly.
talking about, is that big gaps there? What's
I think this is the biggest one in the NFL. I was
Yeah.
trying to.
Okay.
build it.
I mean, there's only two teams that play in black, and the other one's pretty cool. So yeah, they are letting down the. Mark, didn't you say that the Falcons were your favourite uniform?
They are, yeah,
Cool
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole aesthetic of the Atlanta Falcons.
It
is
is a cool,
great to me.
Yeah, it is a cool team, and it's a cool history too. I mean, a famous. Again, I'm always showing out Secret Base, but if you go and watch John Boy's, he's got a 6-part documentary on the history of Atlanta Falcons, just as he does with the Vikings, and it's a fascinating watch. It includes a guy who is as well as John Boy's, who does it with him, who's a legit Atlanta fan, and of course starts in that first episode with the famous 28-3 halftime moment and goes backwards in time from there up until the modern day, and that's well worth a watch. But all that to say that yeah, if that documentary taught me anything, it is that this team does have a great vibe, and not just a vibe, but like it encompasses, I think, the vibe of a city that is quite unique in America, right? Like it's a southern city, but it's a predominantly like black culture, right? And we've seen the history that I don't want to get Gavin raged. We've seen the history
That is bollocks.
we saw how that team rallied around Michael Vick, and then obviously the pain that it experienced with the way that Michael Vick's career ended in Atlanta, and then kind of where they went from there, and they almost counterintuitively rally behind a guy like Matt Ryan that's kind of like the total opposite, but like also a lovable fuzzball that kind of fits into an Atlanta-like situation, right? And he became a legend, and now he's in charge of football operations, and so in a way, in a kind of a less successful sort of way, not to be too patronizing to a team like Atlanta, but they do strike me as a little Steelersy in the way that like they're doing things in a local way. They're a local team. They strike me as a team that when they do the schedule release video, probably do like a crap local news weather station one, right? Like they're a team, I think, with strong local ties. I think the fan base is excellent. And here's the thing. They're a fun team to watch on the field too, man. Like when you watch his name just escaped, Bijan Robinson, any moment he can break away. Like he has games sometimes where like, holy crap, Bijan Robinson's won this game before he's walked out of there. And then half the time you watch the game and then by the end of it, you're like, how did the Falcons find a way to lose this? Despite Bijan having 250 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever. I mean, I think he's one of the most talented players in the league, full stop.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that he's the kind of running back like Christian McCaffrey you spoke about earlier, and obviously a lot younger, who you can build an offense around. And so it's a shame that we seem to be in this struggle bus. And I wonder with the Falcons if it's a situation where you've got like kind of, we always talk about owners that are a little bit too hands-on, right? And it's a problem. Obviously, everybody loves the Falcons ownership situation, but is this like I can't remember what's his name? The guy who owns the Falcons.
Arthur Blank.
Arthur Blank, thank you. Obviously, everyone likes Arthur Blank, and the Cokes are cheap in the stadium or whatever. But like, is he maybe a little bit too involved? And like, he's always famously the guy who's down on the field like 30 seconds before the game. Like, is it just that he's like a little bit too hands-on
He's like
in a slightly more positive way?
Yeah, a nice Jerry Jones.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking. Literally the words out of my mouth. Do you see that? Do you think he is?
Yeah.
Is he maybe a bit too involved?
I mean, my personal problem with the Falcons, and this is a very superficial take, is that the lighting in that stadium is grungy.
That's the same with the Saints, though. I don't know what it is with those teams.
Yeah, they need to change the color temperature in there. They need to have some more LED strips. They just need to
up
change
the contrast.
Yeah, like turn up the backlight. I don't know. Like that makes me depressed.
Add a vignette.
Yeah.
Add some film
I think that's part of it. The lighting in there, they need better. That's your home field. You want to be able to see properly. Everyone, they're playing black. The field looks low contrast. I don't know. I genuinely think that it was the same as the old Rams. When the Rams were in St. Louis, that stadium was grungy. They had concrete round.
St. Louis,
It was
another historically black location that Gav has a problem with the imagery of.
That is bollocks.
It's the lighting, right? And these teams just need to up the lighting, up the contrast. I genuinely think it's a thing.
Huh?
All right, before Gav accidentally writes Helter Skelter 2,
Ket's in the chat has informed us the best Falcons tailgating with parking is the Home Depot backyard. Where is
There you
that?
go.
Oh, there it is.
why does he know that?
Well, he's obviously done something.
Again, isn't he in Haiti? putting down
He's
a
in Port-au-Prince.
revolution? Oh, dear.
Let's see where that is.
Right, two things I want to talk about, and I'm sure people are so...
No.
Again, when we talk about talent... What are you saying no to?
Sorry, I thought it was miles up, but it's not. It's not. Oh no, it's not giving it to me. Okay, sorry, carry on.
And we haven't even talked about the quarterbacks yet, which is part of the problem. But we've got these hyper talented players in guys like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and yet again, have they ever reached quite the level? Drake London, where would you put him in terms of wide receivers? Like, he's top 10, but isn't he like the last guy you'd pick because he's like slightly unexciting, even though he's looks
you'd
incredible?
feel like you'd pick him higher than you actually end up
Wanting
picking
to-
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of think about him, and then you think about other people who are a bit more successful and done a little bit more, and you're like, wow, actually, yeah.
I hate to steal
This
another.
kid's great, but
I hate to steal another show's bits, but I think it just is so perfect for the player. Is if anyone listens to the Ringer Fantasy Football podcast, they've got this whole thing where they're like, "What is the Drake London play? Like, name the memorable. Like, what is the Drake London memory?" And it's like
Something on the sidelines,
right?
an end zone.
And
Didn't he score a touchdown in London, or was that Pitts? Maybe that was Pitts.
that was Pitts. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
who they've
I
now
saw-
signed to an extension, right? Which is interesting because, and I actually like that for the Falcons because I would have hated to see Pitt sort of turn around, go to another team age 25 or whatever after all these years of disappointing the Falcons, and then suddenly be the best tight end in the league.
Well,
You just
different
see it.
position, but they're doing what you just said the Cardinals should be doing, which is, rather than blow it up,
Right,
focus on
build.
the talent you got and build around that.
And he showed something is the thing, right? He hasn't just been an unmitigated disaster. I mean, fair enough. He's not been the player that everybody touted him to be in terms of his next level.
The pressure on that is
unbelievable.
just ridiculous. Yeah. What was he, 4th overall pick? Was he in that first round?
It was something crazy like that. Yeah, it was top 10. But I mean, he last season at least, I would say, started to show what you saw from it as a first round move tight end. But can he build on that? I think he can. But he's clearly not the athletic freak that he. I mean, he is an athletic freak, but he's lost that with a couple injuries. Like, he's not got the insane first step and movement abilities that we saw from him 5 years ago. But he's still young and he's still got an insane catch radius and he's bigger than everyone else and he moves pretty well. Like, so
was last year his breakout?
It was his
It's
breakout, but again,
close.
it's a Kyle Pitts breakout. It's like, you know, did you finish? Like,
yeah.
Ask Eli Apple's mum.
But yeah. But I mean, you kind of touched on the big problem with the Falcons just a second ago. Is
I always touch on the big problem.
What's going on here? I mean, Penix obviously didn't shine and then got injured. Kirk Cousins is out the building now. They've bought Tua in. I mean, Tua probably still thinks he's in Miami, but
that's what I
now
can't
he's
make
in
sense.
Atlanta.
Why bring Tua in? I can't. I honestly, I think I probably would have said this for any team that brought him
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because you see the obvious with Penix and Tua, which is they're both left-handed quarterbacks. Left-handed, supposed to be mobile quarterbacks. And that's that's kind of the finger point obvious reason why Tua is in the building there. So it's not too much different to because Tua's probably starting this season, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
and apparently the noise coming out of camp, it's in pads, so there's no risk of any concussions. But apparently he's looked very sharp. He's looked good in the scheme coming out of OTAs.
well, fingers crossed that carries on, because when Tua is on it, he's actually a pretty decent quarterback. It's just, everything is kind of caught up and just completely gone by him.
I mean, stylistically, other than them being both left-handed, they are completely opposite quarterbacks, aren't they? Him and Penix. I mean, Penix is a run around and hurl it deep, and Tua is a dink and dunk merchant, game manager type. So that doesn't make much sense for me. But it's an interesting question because we could see who works better out of these two. Who brings London, Dotson, and Pitts alive. So it's an interesting.
My
question.
argument would be neither of them, but we'll see.
Well, no, we'll see. Okay. Well, you're saying neither of them would do that, but fantastic skill players on this team. Surely, Robinson. Surely, I mean, I would have thought that Tua would be great for Bijan, and I would have thought that Penix would be great for London and Pitts, but Dotson, perhaps the route running kind of classic number 2, probably better off with Tua. So it's quite interesting to see how this shakes down and shakes out. Who would you, if they were both healthy, who would you say would win that battle?
Well, they're going to want Penix to win it, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like, it's almost like being asked if you want to be burgled or mugged.
Jesus.
But,
Nearly went somewhere dark then.
I
know.
nearly combined the two there. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. It's tough, isn't it? Because they both just have such big downfalls in kind of some of their play that it's just a worry with either of them. Again, it's almost similar to the Cardinals situation of like you're almost damned.
No, I'd say this situation's better than this situation's
better,
got
but
more upside.
Is it? Yeah.
If I had to bet my mortgage on which player would elevate this team, I would go with Tua.
I thought you were going to say Travis Simeon then.
I did consider it. I just think Penix is the variance is so wild. And have we really seen him do it? We've seen moments. Whereas Tua,
I mean, he's never had the fair rub of it as well either, though, has he? I mean, he was the draft pick that everyone was shocked at and was joked about. Sat behind Cousins, came in, looked all right to begin with, but just again steadily fell off a cliff quickly and then got injured, and he's just never, he's had a rough first 2 years, and he's probably not going to start his third. I'd be shocked if he's he's not going to get a second
There's
contract.
another factor in this as
But,
well,
yeah.
which is Stefanski, right?
Yes, that is the other big thing.
Big
yes.
factor. Now, what style does he play? He plays under center, lots of play action, wide zone. Now, who does that sound like it suits more? Tua is the answer to me.
I was waiting for Sai to come in. On that.
I think that sounds like a Tua-led offense. So I think Tua's ahead.
I think you're probably right. I mean, I think you're probably right that he will end up being, because he's more polished, which seems crazy to say about Tua, but unfortunately with experience, with the coaches he's been with, and again, you got to remember, Tua led the league in passing yards. Was very close, right? One season, and
Was that yards after the catch? Though?
Well, no, I know, I understand, but I'm saying he's just had the experience, whereas Michael Penix, he's not had the fair shake of it. That's true, Mark. A lot of it's been injuries and stuff, but.
Now, if Penix had a 4,000 yard season, I would believe it would be air yards. If Tua had a 4,000 yard season,
exactly.
it would be all yak, right? But
It's all Bijan
but ultimately, does it matter? Does it matter?
I think Michael Penix needed a very strong coach to be with him in his first 3 years in the league, and unfortunately, it's not happened. And we've seen it over and over again with the Michael Penixes and the Anthony Richardsons, and name the last 50 quarterbacks that have failed here. And maybe it's the theme of this episode, right? But QB development, it's just look at the draw sometimes, where you land and how your injuries go and who you're with.
It's amazing to see it in the NFC, isn't it? I mean, we've said it for a couple of seasons now that the AFC is the conference of quarterbacks and the NFC is the conference of
question marks.
Pretty much talent
Everything
everywhere
else.
else. Yeah.
What do we think about the defense?
I mean, James Pierce is the
question
big
marks.
problem there.
Yeah,
big problem there.
That's your first round pick a year ago is potentially
He traded up for.
He's traded up for. They've not had luck with edge rushers, have they? This team.
No.
It seems to be the thing that it's the thing that
Who
can
made
never
that
quite...
trade, by the way? Because
That was the Rams, wasn't it? I think as well.
Yeah, because they trade. For anyone who doesn't remember, they traded up to get James Pierce, who obviously now is involved in this major incident. Although it seems like he might get off and play again. Who knows? Whatever. Either way, he's a bonehead. But
good player though.
Good player, and he won. Was he rookie of the year? Defensive rookie of the year? Or did I make that up? No. He was close though, right? Like he had how many sacks did he have? He had like
he played well. Yeah,
he was. I think either way, he to me is not worth what you gave up for him, and I don't think that even had he been defensive rookie of the year, or even had he been like I'm trying to understand like what. Knowing where the Cardinals were going to finish last year, and that's how obviously the Rams ended up with the 13th pick, and that's how they ended up drafting the quarterback, Ty Simpson. Knowing where you were going to be, what is the gap between your understanding of yourself, your self-scouting in the GM and in the front office versus like where they actually end up? It seems to be massive with the Falcons. They seem to every year think that they are way bigger than they are and way more or way closer or way more confident in the fact that they're going to compete than they are, and it's that's a trade the future move. We've seen it over and over again, and it almost never works unless you're drafting a quarterback, and even then, it seems like 20% and below. I remember the Chiefs obviously did it to get Mahomes. I'm trying to think but how many times do you remember a Trey Lance or this that or
I
the
think
QB?
I think you've nailed that there. I think this team thinks it's better than it is. I really do, and hopefully Stefanski can come in and say, "Well, you're not as good," and this is. Yeah, he leads it to where he needs it to be, and it's going to be a couple of years before I think this team's competitive in this division, let alone in the NFL. But yeah, as you say, there are some really nice pieces. I think even this defense, Jalen Walker could be a guy that comes on in a couple of years.
I think this defense is good. I think this defense is solid. 57.
It's got pieces.
57 sacks in 2025 was a defensive record for them. It was the run defense that was the problem. It allowed 4.6 yards per carry. Well, I think they fixed that. They brought in.
Oh no!
They brought in the big man, Colossus, the Warrior, Mason Smith from Jacksonville to play nose tackle. Now that guy is going to shore up that run. But that's exactly what they needed. I know you don't like the guy. I do. I think he's going to solve that problem. He's going to plug that hole. I would have loved to have seen him on the Steelers. But also Christian Harris is an unheralded. That's a good linebacker. And then you look at the secondary. That is a strong secondary in my book.
That's good. It is good. Yeah, Xavier
Mike
Watts
Hughes,
really
you know,
strong.
small,
Yeah.
unathletic, but he's a smart, tough player. Jesse Bates, you know, been a bit down, but he's in conversation for top 5 safeties. Xavier Watts is a really strong free safety. I like him. They've got the Terrell brothers. This is a good defense. I think Divine Diablo is a tone setter. Jalen Walker is that kind of move coverage linebacker that can also do some things against the run. Solid defense.
Bought Sidney Brown in as well. That's a really good depth pickup as well. Like it's really, really solid. Again, it just, as you say, really good season last year. But what happens with this team? Like it's mad. I mean, who's the DC at the moment in Atlanta?
Albrecht.
It's, Albrecht, and was he there last year? He was, yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's more the head coach, right? It's Churn, it's you know, Stefanski. Do we, you know, he was coach of the year candidate multiple years. I think he's a good coach. I think this is a team that's pretty level from roster construction, apart from quarterback. I'd argue the Steelers. Rodgers is a better quarterback than what they've got, but I'd say they're a good roster that just hasn't put it together. If they put it together, you could put them above the Steelers. But at the moment where we stand right now, I'm putting the Steelers ahead of the Falcons. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I can't, in good conscience, put this team above the Steelers for just what it is and has been. It's got the potential. I totally agree with you, Gav. But it's the classic. I need to see it to believe it. And yeah, Stefanski could be the spark that ignites it. We'll see. He did some decent things in Cleveland. He also did some bad things, but he did some decent things. But yeah, there's what this team I think has is decent depth. Like I think there is some really nice depth pieces to kind of back up a team that, you know, may have some concerns with some of its starters as well. So we'll see. But yeah, I can't put this team above the Steelers just yet.
Yeah, I would broadly agree with that as well.
Okay,
And Ketz agrees as well.
all right, we're agreed then. So let's move on. So who's next here? Who wants to go next?
Is it me?
I think it's you, Mark. I think it's you. I took the
yes, it is
49ers
me.
after the You went second.
Yeah. Well, should we talk about the division champions? Should we talk about the Carolina Panthers?
Sure.
Yeah, weird one, really. It's hard to believe that this team won the division.
It really is.
You think about the Panthers over the before last season. You think about just the struggles that they had, and at times were probably the worst team in the league potentially. But this team really put something together last year. And yes, the division they're in is not great, but Dave Canales really got this team moving. And, you know, Bryce Young, the jury is still somewhat out. And yeah, I'm a little bit biased on Bryce Young. I really liked him coming out, and I still think he can do a job. Definitely has had his struggles, undoubtedly, but came back and I think has looked good, has looked pretty damn good. I like Ted McMillan a lot. I think he was a big contributor. Was he Offensive Rookie of the Year? I think he was, wasn't he?
Should have been.
Yeah.
Outside of him, I mean, it's not quite happened for Leggett just yet. Over the first couple of years that he's played, I know there's some concerns about him from those
Time to
fans,
forget Xavier Leggett.
Yeah.
If he can come on,
Is he a trade candidate?
He is definitely a trade candidate. But if he can come on still, then with Jalen Coker in there, who can have some really nice games. They've brought John Mechie in. That could be a really nice piece. Obviously drafted Chris Brazzles. Had to see how he kind of adapts. Out of coming from Tennessee.
They've got Horn and Brazzers.
Wow. Let's see if it is as sexy as it could be. I mean, there's definitely a lot of no names swimming around this team.
Well, no, the names are Brazzers and Horn. He's just told you.
Big
but
names.
There are still some decent pieces. I mean, Chuba Hubbard
Red Tube.
is a decent Red Tuber Hubbard is a decent back on his day. You want to make a
Upon
tremble,
Hubbard.
then you look at the tight ends and
Tremble, make me tremble.
that tight end duo of Tommy Tremble and Jatavian Sanders
Hey,
is actually pretty
for real
decent.
though. Yeah, I'm
So-
gonna say for real though. Tommy Tremble, my boy, is finally
Yeah.
coming. He's had his breakout season last year.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
not in the know. The Tommy Tremble revolution is coming.
And I like this running back group. Like Tuba Hubbard, if Jonathan Brooks can get healthy, then that's a good.
Wow, that's a
yeah.
huge one. That's a huge one. That's massive. Jonathan Brooks was seen as the best running back in that draft, right? And it's just he's not really played.
Well, he's just the injuries, isn't it? So
He's 22 years old. Is this his year? He's taken Rico Dowdo's spot. He's gone to a better team.
My dynasty taxi squad says yes.
Right, he played
And
three.
you've got Travis's brother in there as well, Trevor Etienne.
Brooks-
who's a decent.
Yeah, Brooks has played 3 games in 2 years, so this is his shot. But I think it's huge.
this is the time. And I mean, on the defense as well, they're building some pieces in there. They've bought in Devin Lloyd, bought in Jalen Phillips. This is a team that's had a lot of money that they're able to spend as well. So, listen, I'm not saying that the Panthers are better than the Steelers. They're not, in my opinion. Are they a team that kind of benefited off a bad division last year to sneak into a playoff position? Probably. Did they kind of take advantage of a Bucks down year? Probably. But there is the makings of a little bit of a dark horse team here, and it still needs some work. I'm not a big fan of the line per se. I think there's defensive issues here and there, but there's still a decent nucleus of what they've got there. I really like Nick Scornton, JC Horn, Trevon Morig, but it's still a little way away, but they're going in the right direction. Even with a bit of a mad owner that they have, it is all signs are pointing positive at the moment for the Panthers, and they could repeat and win the division again. But they're still a fair way off being a really competitive team, and I still don't think if it was Steelers, well, Steelers do play the Panthers this season, don't they? So we'll see. I do think the Steelers would win that one.
I think the question mark for them, sorry, it's lots of young players that showed good growth last year, but for them to have success, their development needs to continue in a straight line, and we're not sure that's not always going to happen. So it's I expect some regression. O-line issues. You said the O-line's good. Yes, it is, but
well, no, I did. I said that I had questions about the O-line.
Right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Then that's a very salient point, Mark. Well done. The left tackle, Ekwonu, good player, but he's injured. Do we know what the injury is? How long he's out for? Not sure.
Remember.
Ruptured patella. No timetable to return, so there is no answer. He injured. He ruptured his patella in the playoffs, so he could miss the whole year. So that's a question mark. And then center Luke Fortner. That's a question mark. I'm not sure he's.
I think that's why they drafted Sam Hecht. I think Hecht could very quickly win that job. As much as I wasn't a massive Hecht fan.
Right, and then you've got Monroe Freeling, who apparently has been playing both tackle spots in OTAs. So that's kind of good and bad. That's like yin and yang. So it's bad in that they don't see him as a starter. Like if they did, they'd be playing him at left tackle, right? It's good for the future though, because they see him as a player that they can move around, maybe play him as swing tackle this year and then develop him. They just want to work out what his best natural position is. So it's what I'm saying. Like it's a young team. These question marks about a lot of the skill players, Brooks and so forth. Bryce Young, where are we with him? I mean, it's
that's my problem. Like I've been on the Young train and I'm so desperately clinging on to
he's
to
so
it.
small.
He is, but he still somehow makes things work. And I think having Ted McMillan was a massive booster for him. I think they work really well. But
he needs that line. He needs a good line in front of him.
He does.
I mean, every quarterback does, but he
especially. Yeah.
He just needs to not just boot out and run around, and he needs to kind of put that demon to bed and play a little bit more structure, which he did last year because he's got that in his pocket. But he can't. That can't be every play. Like he needs to have time in the pocket to dissect the defense.
At least there's no danger of his backup booting out unnecessarily. Oh no, wait, it's Kenny Pickett. Oh dear.
What about the defense? What do we think there, Mark? You're taking this team.
I mean, as I say, it's a few nice pieces here and there, but there are areas that probably need. But I do like a couple of the draft picks as well. Low key, I think the Panthers draft class is actually pretty decent. I know you weren't a big fan of Lee Hunter, but I really like him. I think he could be a massive. I think he could be a massive boost to that defensive line. Zakee Wheatley at safety as well. I think he could really do a job if he gets a shout in there. But yeah, again, it's some nice pieces. I really like the Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips.
They're two nice signings, definitely.
Really, really nice signings. Do like Nick Scornton. I think he can come on in his second year. But yeah, there are holes. But again, a young nucleus that could build nicely.
Derek Brown's a guy that's been progressing slowly. He came in as a sort of big prospect, first round pick. It's kind of didn't live up to expectations. I think he's hit those expectations now. I think he is probably their Cam Hayward, isn't he? Like he's just a tough player. The defense improved last year. They were last in the league in 24. In 25, they moved up to 16th. But they're still tied for 28th in sacks, only 30 sacks. So they need to get more pressure. Have they answered that? I mean, Jalen Phillips is a good answer for that, isn't he? And I like Skelton, but I feel like Skelton, he came on strong in the playoffs, but I feel like he's more of a kind of Alex Highsmith character that needs a pass rusher opposite him to get pressure. He's more of a kind of like seal the edge, sink kind of outside rusher. But they've got that in Phillips now. Phillips was a concussion case, right, in college, but he seems to have stayed healthy, so I think he can put it together. I like Phillips, and I like their defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, third year in job, one of the guys in the kind of head coach searches.
Yeah, we were talking about him a little bit, yeah.
So he's probably his last year in the job, but so I like that. I like that he's gone back. I think that's good for them. The secondary solid, another horn, as Ketz has pointed out. So 2 horns and Brazzers on this team. But it's very, very jaggy overall. And I'm saying Steelers better.
I agree. I'm going to say Steelers better, but I just want to add. I think one of the benefits that the Panthers maybe have that has been overlooked is that they were a team that was so unattractive, like so looked upon, and the Cardinals are like this right now, right? Or like some of these teams where they're viewed not only as a kind of an outsider team in that they're not like a big market team and stuff, but also that they're like completely toxic to touch in terms of where they were in the league at the moment, right? Like they drafted Bryce Young and everyone kind of thought, oh God, that was such a bad pick, and they've totally balls up the first pick and it's a complete disaster and nobody wanted to go anywhere near them. And I think the benefit that brings is that they actually kind of had to go out of the kind of the defined Shanahan slash Sean McVay tree box, right? And not to say that these guys, I actually don't even know. I'm sure they probably are in that tree. Everybody is, but just in the they couldn't just go and pluck the next guy off the tree. They had to kind of go outside the bucket a little bit, right? And they got Brad Idzik, who's in his early 30s. I think he's 34. OC. They got Ejiro Evero, who'd only had one season as a DC. He's in his early 40s. With the Broncos in that disastrous 2022 season. So they were able to and obviously Dave Canales, that head coach, who I saw last season in his first year as kind of a guy, I saw him and heard him. I was like, he's one of these guys who's not going to last more than a year or two. And I got to say, every week I was more impressed with him, especially, obviously, easy to say as the Panthers starting to improve and win the division, but I was impressed with the way that he looked and the changes that were being made and how fluid they were. And so I wonder, is it potentially an injection of young coaching talent that has come from outside the box a little bit,
right? And
that's why this Panthers team is going to succeed going forward.
I think you're right. I think they have improved their coaching. Have they elevated themselves from that kind of Washington General status, along with the Titans and the Cardinals, of just being a completely unexciting, meaningless franchise that is just, as you said, a road bump that the good teams have to get past, into actually being slightly competitive, or at least being, we need to take them seriously now? Is
Well,
that
we
where
have
they
to take
are?
them seriously because they're a playoff team. Yeah, and as much as
Well,
you
they
see the
kind of
division what it
fumbled their
is,
way into the
yeah,
playoffs,
but they still did it. And that's the thing. They still had a winning record. Did they have a winning record?
I
Or
think
were they one of those playoff teams that?
I think they were 9-8. Hang on, I'll tell you. They were 8-9. 8-9. Close.
Okay, so they're one of those that just kind of yeah. But even so, like this team getting 8 wins still last year, still good, and I say it's a solid basis to platform off.
Yeah,
so.
and I think the point you started with, that receiver core is dangerous. You've got to respect that. McMillan, Coker, and then whoever it is out of Leggett, Brazzers, Horn, Mechie, David Moore even. I think that's solid. Threatening, even.
Yeah.
But we're agreed, right?
Not
Steelers
quite.
better. Should
Yeah.
we move on?
I think, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right, last two teams. Let's roll through these.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Bucks. I thought the Bucks won the draft
Mm.
personally. I loved their draft, but it's it's when a team takes all the players that you're after, it's hard not to think they have the best draft.
Oh yeah, no, this is a very Gav.
Very me, and also love the parking situation at the Raymond James Stadium. We've talked about this before. It's the grass parking scenario. Love that as a fan. Great.
Interesting though that they've gone car park rather than port though, given the fan base.
Right? Yeah, you could have had a.
I think there's
yeah,
only so much in the nautical theme you can.
It would have been
Right.
nice
Well,
to
it
be
would have
on the
been
docks
nice.
on the harbour.
Yeah, it would have been so. Imagine right on a port, and you could literally drive your pirate ship right up to this thing and park, and then come in.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
That'd be great.
Bucks went 8-9 last year, which seems like a travesty. This is just two very different
Yeah.
teams moving in different directions. Bucks, I think, what did they do? They had a collapse, right? They fired Josh Grizzard, and now Zach Robinson, one of Rang's guys, is now offensive coordinator, a young whiz kid. So it's another new scheme for Baker, the fourth offensive coordinator in Tampa. But apparently, this scheme should ask a little bit less of him, a bit more outside zone, a bit more run creativity. So perhaps a chance for Baker to look more comfortable and shine again. You talked about it earlier, Mark. Due another deal, or trying to get a deal. Seems settled and happy, so should be able to work it out. But he's on the final year of a 3-year, $100 million deal, which he signed in 2024. Puts him 16th among quarterbacks, and like seriously below the quality starters. Who 12 quarterbacks make $50 million a year. He's on 33. So should he be in that upper sort of echelon of earners in the league, or is he mid-table, or what do you think?
There needs to be a compromise. I think Baker, especially given his history and where he's come from in the league and his experiences, I think I'm sure he does. I'd be hard pressed to believe that him and his agent don't understand this, and I'm hoping that this is just kind of like early, negotiation tactics or whatever. But I think this goes for a lot of quarterbacks. We have to dispatch with this notion. I know I'm here kind of just prescribing things from atop the mountain today in terms of the QBs, but we have to detach ourselves from this notion that QBs, if they're good enough to get a contract, right, automatically are good enough to get the biggest contract. And I know Mahomes slightly broke this with his like mega deals that have been going on and whatnot, but still, generally, if you're a solid quarterback, think about when Brock Purdy signed. I'm trying to think of the guys, but guys who, let's be honest, aren't better than Josh Allen, aren't better than Patrick Mahomes, aren't better than Joe Burrow. They always have to be better than the last guy and we have to detach ourselves from this notion. And Baker Mayfield's the greatest example of this, because Baker Mayfield doesn't deserve to be paid $50 million a year like these other guys. That will be inhibitive to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers competing, because Baker Mayfield is not that good of a quarterback. He's not carrying the Tampa Bay's poor roster to a Super Bowl.
But compare him to
he
Jacoby.
has to understand that, or they have to move on, unfortunately. That's not a slight on Baker. That's just reality. They can't pay him $50 million
I think you're being a bit harsh. I think they have to pay him. I mean, compare Baker to Jacoby Brissett. Imagine if Baker had the 3
They'll
years.
never win a Super Bowl if they pay him $50 million a year.
They won't.
Never.
But they need to pay him
Well, then
something.
don't do it then.
They need to.
Don't do it.
They can work out a deal. Surely, team friendly.
Okay,
his kids are
sure,
happy
but
in
that's what I'm
Tampa.
saying. Yeah,
Like,
I'm saying there has to be a compromise. He has to accept that he's not going to be the highest paid quarterback when he signs a deal.
Right, and I don't
understand.
think he's asking for that. I don't think
He seems to be right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, but that's negotiation, right? We know it's a human bias. You anchor, you go high, and then you settle in the middle, and it's defined by who puts the higher figure first or the lower figure first. So he's just negotiating, but I think he's clearly happy there. He's found a home after years of being a backup and transitioning. So he'd be mad to move on. And they'd be mad to move on. It's a perfect match made in heaven, so they should just get it sorted. But a factor that's important for that is one of the better lines in the league. But the injuries piled up big time last year, and that coincided with, they started 6-3 and were looking good. They'd been in the playoffs a few years in a row. Then they crashed out and went 8-9. Serious loss after loss after loss. And you look at it, and it ties in with this line. So they've got left tackle Tristan Wirfs, who's an all-pro. He missed 5 games. Starting left guard Ben Breederson, he missed 6 games. Starting right guard Cody Malk, that we love, played through a knee injury that he suffered in week 2. He finished that game but ended up on injured reserve for the rest of the season. Starting right tackle Luke Goddard, that we like, he missed 6 games. Graham Barton at the starting centre, he was the only member of that lineup of the offensive line to play all 17 games, but there's serious questions. People saying he's a fantastic guard but a very average centre. They ended up playing him at tackle. That's impressive, right? Basically play him anywhere, but that's not a recipe for success with a quarterback that, again, like Young, is prone to wanting to boot out at the first opportunity. So he's got a strong line. It just needs to come together. So I think that's a big reason why last year wasn't so good. And I think if they can keep some of that line upright, then he'll have much more success. Obviously lost Mike Evans. That's a big loss. And defensively lost Levante David, who admittedly, he'd retired, but it started to slow down. But one of the better linebackers over the last decade. And Jamel Dean has gone to a better team. But, he's a solid cornerback, sorry. So there's some big losses. But Tease Johnson, surprising. We all wrote him off for being, paper thin, but a surprising rookie season. And I think another guy that's due for a breakout is Jalen McMillan. Because he, again, against a better team in the Steelers, suffered a bad neck injury in the preseason. Was on IR and then, came back with a brace and was slow. But people forget, first 100-yard game in week 17 last year. So, he's a breakout candidate. I think everyone's writing him off, but he was good on that Washington team with Penix and everyone else behind a lot of other good receivers. But Jalen McMillan was solid. Ketz is saying nose tackle to left guard. I think you missed the point there. And then Egbuka. I mean, people saying that he needs to replace Mike Evans.
Egbika.
I think he's going to make the leap. He is going to make the leap. Egbuka is going to be the Jackson Smith in Jigba of this year, I think. I mean, that guy is going to make a massive jump.
I think what Ketz was pointing out in the chat there, by the way, is the fact that our boy Nash Hutmacher has gone from nose tackle to left guard, which is interesting.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Ketz. You're way ahead of me there. Sorry, I thought you were saying that Graham Barton was playing nose tackle.
No, I was looking at Hutmacher and I was like, I'm sure he wasn't an offensive player. Like, well, yeah, no.
He's put Nash Hutmacher above that. I didn't see that. Sorry,
he has moved. Yeah, he has moved positions.
Ketz spit his pina colada out there when
obviously Ben Breedson as well, brother of my boy Max Breedson, part of that Michigan Breedson trio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the line was obviously the big, as you say, the big problem with them just dropping off like flies throughout the season. Never helped. But I mean, it's the nucleus of a very, very good side on paper. And we'll see what the receiver room comes. Sorry, I cut you off before you were going to talk about Emeka Egbuka, who can come on.
No,
really
you're doing
strong.
it.
Yeah, it's a difficult name to say. But I like that Ted Hurst addition in the draft as well. I think he can really carve out a role, particularly with Chris Godwin now coming up into kind of the later years of his career. But Yeah, sorry, you were saying about Emeka Egbuka. I think you hadn't finished your.
Well, it was leading into a sort of more global point about it seems like the roster's got younger, and that's a good thing. But they're perhaps replacing like the leadership culture and communication with just pure talent. And sometimes that transition is a year behind what you expect.
Well, you've got to remember that this was a team filled, and some of these guys are still there, of course, but filled with Super Bowl winners, and the core members of this team had been there and done that, and been on that team with Tom Brady and been on that ride, and
Exactly.
and Mike Evans, of course, is the poster boy for this, right? And I think that is the. Often as fans of teams, right, we plant poles in the ground to sort of define eras, and it does feel like Mike Evans is that player for this Bucs team because obviously so much of it was not defined by the quarterback specifically, and the quarterback position actually migrated around a little bit during this period, and obviously Brady came in and defined it with the Super Bowl, but Mike Evans really with that, and it's that 1,000-yard record because it's so indicative of what we're talking about is just this consistency. Is just having 1,000 yards every single season for a decade or however long it was. So it does feel like a new chapter for the Bucs, but they do feel a bit to me, and this is why to spoil it, and we'll see what you two think. I'm going to have the Steelers above the Bucs this year, and I don't think I would automatically do that, and I don't think I would necessarily do it just if you looked at it like on paper.
Okay. That's interesting, yeah.
But I think the Bucs are a team that are primed to decline slightly. Now it's hard to say necessarily based on where they were because they declined so heavily at the back end of last season already. So maybe they kind of roundabout at the same place. But I think that it's a team out of time in that it feels like they're ready to move the page here.
Well,
but
I think
Todd Bowles is still here.
Yeah,
Todd Bowles is hanging around. Like I said,
That's what I was
going to
say. Is Todd Bowles on a hot seat this year?
Well, it's not even so much. It's not really even the hot seat. Feels like a weird word. I mean, yes is the answer, I guess, but I almost feel like it's pre-decisioned. Like, what's it going to take for Todd Bowles to stay? Is my question.
Playoffs.
Is it going to take an NFC? I think it's more than that. I think if they made the wildcard round and didn't win it, I think he goes. I think if they won a wildcard round game, there might even be a question.
I think it's converting pressures to sacks, being a challenging defense, and solidifying.
I think that's the real
offensive
answer.
Consistency. I think that's what it is. And I think they can do that. And I think even if they make the playoffs and then crash out in the the wild card or the divisional round, then I think that's okay. I think
I get the sense that Todd Bowles, and I think it's happening quicker with fan bases now, of course, than it used to because of the short-termism society we live in, is entering that Mike Tomlin society situation where the fans, while acknowledging his greatness, are a little bit over it. That's the vibe I'm getting. Maybe we're in the early stages of it. We'll see. But I would not be shocked to see Todd Bowles gone at the end of the year.
Let's talk about defense. So Vita Vea holding out. So I think he's there. He's there. Cam Hayward, right? Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah.
One of the most athletic nose tackles in the league. A savage player. Love the defensive upgrades, particularly in the draft. But I think corner looks a little weaker. Jamal Dean, as I said, he's gone. But love the Scott. I mean, what a match made in heaven. Keontae Scott, lockdown, nickel, perfect for Bowles. Bowles runs, love it or hate it, he runs a very complex defensive scheme. They can push Parrish outside. Scott comes in to the slot. I think he's a linebacker playing slot corner. He's a real threat. I think blitz weapons. Reuben Bain. The noise coming out of the Bucs beat writers is he's getting applauded. It's not just for the traits that got him drafted, but we've got ESPN's Jenna Lane quoting Todd Bowles saying, "For me, it's his intelligence, his understanding of the game. There are some things that you cannot teach, and he does not learn like a normal rookie. He does some things that a 3 or 4 year guy can do." That's coming out before he's played a single snap of a guy that was top 5 in the draft and fell. And we couldn't believe it. They've got a steal here, I think.
Yeah, I think he's going to be defensive rookie of the year, man.
Yeah, he's a monster. Absolute
but
monster.
he's got slightly tiny arms.
Yeah, I don't think it matters for him. This isn't a Nick Herbig situation. This is a guy that's just
I got a bit. What would you?
Ferocious.
Whoa.
Again, he's got to find a way to slight what has been our best pass rusher. Again, in a crazy spot. But all right. Keep the hate up.
Okay, so what the difference is? Nick Herbig is a situational pass rusher to get after the quarterback, right? Bain,
Yeah, that situation is all of them.
oh yeah, great. But then the issue comes when they run the ball, and Herbig's on the field. Can he maintain a block? Can he get owned?
I see what you're doing here, Gav. You think that if you attack a white pass rusher now, it'll make up for your previous transgressions
That
this
is
episode. I see
bollocks.
what this is.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
I
colorblind here.
love
I'm
how Gav's
colorblind
got
here.
got the sound drop ready for any sort of attack. there now.
Colorblind. No, Bain is an aggressive monster out there that can defend against the run. So I'm not worried about the short arms.
Yeah.
And then you've got Yahya Jarby on the other side. Diaby, sorry.
DRB, yep.
Yeah, he generates real pass rush. You're getting Kalijah Cansey back from injury. It's just that thing about, pressure. Yes, it's a stat. PFF, love it. It's not a sack though. It's not quite there. That seems like I hung out on the Bucks forums for a little bit, trying to do some research for this podcast, and that seems to be the major criticism. We've got Warren Sharp's 2026 football preview. He takes a deep dive on Bucks blitzes. He says the hard numbers are gruesome. Tampa couldn't record pressure unless it manufactured it with a blitz. They ranked 18 in pressure rate when not blitzing. This has been Bowles' problem for years. When this defense is not blitzing, their pressure rate, 29%, ranks 24, and their hit rate ranks 25. So Bowles dials up well above average blitz rates, 5th highest in 2025. But on blitzes last year, his defense recorded just 11 total sacks, which is 17th. So consider that stat. 5th highest blitz rate with 185 total blitzes, 6th most, but only 11 sacks. So they're just not getting home. And what happens when you blitz? You're opening up other areas of the field, right? You're bringing a defender, an extra defender. So that's why they got beaten. So it's a real risk when you blitz. It's such a fascinating thing. We were talking about the schematic thing, the matchups, but your decision to blitz or not is such a decisive thing in your success rate. Can we've seen the teams that have come out of nowhere in the past, or teams that are good and have won Super Bowls, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles. If you can get pressure with 4 men up front, then it makes everything so much easier. If you're having to blitz, then it speaks to a bigger problem. And Bowles' defense seems to have to blitz, and yet they're not getting the sacks. So I think that's why Bowles is on the hot seat. And your comparison to Tomlin is quite apt. All right, Tomlin wasn't a blitz merchant, but he was a defensive coach. And when you're a defensive coach, you're known for your defensive scheme, and it's not working. That's when you get into problems because you haven't got the offensive genius to back it up. And it wasn't just their blitzing; their red zone defense really, really bad. Gave up a touchdown in the red zone on 70% of attempts. Gave up a touchdown on 7 of every 10 red zone trips. Worst in the league. So I think that's going to improve. I like this defense. I like the players. Whether Bowles is a problem or not. Josiah Trotter as a linebacker is, I wish the Steelers had got him. That guy is a true, should have been a Steeler. Honestly, I'm disappointed. Blitzer, pass rusher, mean run defender. There's a lot of pieces here I like. DeMonte Capehart, some of the stuff they brought in. Alex Anzalone as a linebacker is another dude I love. Christian Roseboom has been successful. This is a good defense. They should be better. So I've actually got the Bucks better than the Steelers.
Interesting. So Mark, you might be the deciding vote here. I was about to say actually that I'm not I would be open to discussion on this, but we don't even need it because we have 3 people rather than 4. Although I suppose we have Ketz's input, don't we? So maybe we do need it.
Well, me and Ketz are both on the same line, and that line is that the Steelers are better than the Bucks.
Wow.
But I
see that. I thought you were both going to agree with Gav. I really did.
I think it's close though, and I
it is.
certainly agree with a lot of the points that Gav says. I just off the back of what happened last year, and I get a lot of it was injury based. I still. It's tough, isn't it? Because you look at this team on paper, and I think there's a hell of a lot of great people in quite a lot of places. But I just think as an overall picture, I think I'm just edging it to the Steelers. God, don't tell that out of context. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I like what they're building towards. The draft was really, really strong. I do agree with you, Gav, in those pieces that are coming in there. Corner just concerns me a little bit. I mean, Benjamin Morrison was injured coming out of, his into his rookie year.
We've not even
And,
mentioned the Steelers MVP last year.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. And therein lies one of the strongest points I think they've got. We both love Bucky Irving. I think he can come on strong there. And then Kenny Gainwell in that is a heck of a 1-2 punch. And
Best player in the league, Kenny Gainwell.
If he plays like he did last year, I mean, he could be an absolute problem for that division. So yeah, really tough. And obviously, he's not the only Pitt connection there. Old Danny Smith now on their special teams. With Miles Killebrew going over with him as well. So
it's Steelers South again.
Oh, it's such a shame. But yeah, a very good side, very young. I say nucleus, but yeah, obviously with Vita Vea in there as your kind of veteran piece. But yeah, I really like this Bucks team on paper. I would just give a slight nod to the Steelers overall, in terms of what they've got going on.
Who do you think Gainwell is an upgrade over Rashad White or a sideways move? Oh, you do think it's an upgrade?
I think it's an upgrade.
I mean, based on last season, you would say.
Based off last year, for sure. I think just as an overall package, I think maybe I'm not as high on Rashad White as some other people. But yeah, for me,
those people being Gav.
Well, it's a 1-for-1 move, isn't it? It's pass catching running back.
It's a sideways move in that Kenny Gainwell can move sideways and Rashad White can't.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so I'm overruled then. So you're saying I'm 3-1 here.
Yes,
I will say, Gav, I look at, again, on paper, I think the rosters are pretty close. I think you can argue the defense is probably better. I think the offense, again, they've got the quarterback, so it's hard to argue. I do think the offensive pieces are maybe a push. The quarterback's maybe better, but I think the team's on a downward trajectory. I really do. Overall,
I don't know,
until
man.
they
I
reset
feel like
and make a bit of a.
I feel like last year was the worst of their range of outcomes. They hit rock bottom.
Interesting, you think?
Yeah, and I think reversion.
I could be wrong about that. Maybe they win 12 games and then totally revert to a dominating team in this division.
If those rookies can come on as good as we think they're going to be,
and the line stays healthy,
dangerous.
right? If the line stays healthy, it's huge. Yeah. Solid receiver core, good running backs, offense is good, quarterback dangerous, can win you a game.
But I won't be caught dead putting the Steelers below an NFC South team.
But
whoa,
what about tight end? Like, are we on the K Dalton train? Like,
he's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's solid. He works well in the run game. It's just not. It's not a pass. Yeah, you're not scared if they're running out 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets, are you?
I'll say I'm not taking Otton and Durham over move for Washington.
It feels like they're behind the 8 ball with their offensive scheme a little bit. Perhaps they're not joined on. Have they gone big slot? Yes, Conte Scott is big slot. So yes, how actual big is he? 5'11", 195. He's not that big, but he plays big. He plays tough. So I'm giving them a pass on that one. So yes, in some ways, no in others.
All right, well, let's move on. We've voted, I guess.
Yeah, we have.
I'm
still trying to keep it alive in case you change your mind, but it's not happening.
It's close. It's definitely close.
Okay.
It's close, and it could be one that comes back to bite us.
It could be one we look at next season and go, wow, we thought we were better than the Bucks.
Okay, let's move on to the Saints, our last and final team.
Now, this is a trendy. Well, let's just go. We'll go broadly with it, but this is a trendy pick, is it not? For like worst to first team, it's going to be the Saints, and I think a lot of that comes from this idea that Tyler Shough ended the season really positively. I think a lot of people are kind of on the Kellen Moore train as the young head coach, similar to what I was saying with the Panthers. Really, I mean, a very young head coach and coaching group. Obviously, brought in Brandon Staley after his stint with the. God, we don't talk about that time with the Chargers. But he's got some experience. Am I buying into the Saints? Oh, I don't know.
I'll tell you what you can say. I'm not saying you have to buy in, but okay. I think they've definitely got to prove it. They went 6-11 last year, but were pretty average or below average. But I think what we can say is the perpetual cap hell doom loop cycle since Breeze retires seems to be over. right? I think have they escaped that
Yes, I believe so. I
the
mean,
cap-
I won't pretend to know the cap situation intimately, but
I
it
think
would
they
appear
have.
so.
It's screen shoots. There's a bit of wiggle room. The offensive scheme is different. It's not dink and dunk. This is big arm, big play offense with some nice weapons, some nice excitement. So I think this is sunny uplands time for the Saints. There's hope in the building.
How hopeful can they be for this season? Is this a playoff team? Is this a team that can genuinely compete?
I think we can see the blueprint. I think I can anyway. It's not, Shuck surprised everyone, but he's quite, big arm passer. Kellen Moore is a decent OC. So Shuck went 5-4 last season, and he had a 4-game win streak. Coaching staff consistency, so that's great for him. But it's a wide receiver group. Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson. That's a lovely 1 and 2. I'd love that.
I think they need Jordan Tyson to hit. I think he needs to stay healthy, and they need a big rookie season out of him, and then it could be a really exciting offense.
And then you've got to roll the dice of Devon Veal, who's threatened to be good but hasn't quite hit yet. But it's a nice player to have roll the dice on. Jalen Polk again, another guy that maybe hasn't hit high as his draft position, but a chance. And then Bryce Lance, all the potential in the world. You combine that with a really strong running back group of Kamara, who's still got it despite being quite old, and Travis Etienne, great addition. Devin Neal and Condre Miller, Audric Estime, Ty Chandler. That's a good running back room. I don't care. It goes
that is
deep.
That runs deep. Yeah.
Seriously deep, and it's dangerous. And then even backup quarterbacks. If Shuck does bum out, Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson. All right, they're not starters, but they can get you through a season. They've upgraded the tight ends. Look at the tight end room. Juwan Johnson had moments of being quality, and then Noah Fant and Oscar Delp. Those two are going to help the run game. So
what a pickup that is.
Yeah. So they've drafted Delp. They've brought in Fant. The line is improving. It's not brilliant, but it's got some pieces. Kelvin Banks, your boy, Si, for all the wrong reasons. I think the skill players have improved. The O-line's improved. It was one of the worst in the league last year. Same players, but there's some injuries, Fuaga and stuff. I think this offense under Kellen Moore has got a real chance.
Yeah, don't Google Kelvin Banks.
It's sneaky, isn't it? I think it's a sneaky, could surprise you sort of offense. I'm not a Jordan Tyson believer, but who am I? He could very well easily prove me wrong. I'm actually more excited to see if Bryce Lance gets a shot in this offense, because I think he's super talented and could really do a job for them.
Could become the more successful of the two brothers.
Exactly. Well, you'd hope. Jesus. Tyler Shuck is the big question mark, because yes, he came on and actually did. He had some boneheaded moments, certainly, but he was a rookie, and you're going to get those. And I think overall,
26-year-old rookie.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, he did impress, and showed why he's a 26-year-old. Has actually had some veteran instinct to him. But sophomore year now, he's firmly in the driver's seat of being that QB1. What's going to happen? Is the pressure going to get to him in that in the spotlight in season 2? I don't know, and maybe it's just because I wasn't on the Shuck train to begin with, and I'm still a little bit cautious about it. But a lot of the Saints' success, and it's a bit cliche to say a lot of the success of a team is based on the quarterback, certainly. But I think certainly in the Saints' case, I think Tyler Shuck is a big X factor of it could go extremely well or extremely badly for this team with Tyler Shuck under center. But it's a team that's, it's not a team that I'm going to say is better than the Steelers. I'll just say that much. But it is a team that is sneakily improving and has got some decent pieces to it. Cam, where was I going to go with it? I can't remember where I was going for that one. But I just don't know. This is one of the teams that really kind of. I don't know where I sit with them, and I very much have to see what happens this year to kind of get a good gauge of where this team is at or could be at.
The
But,
questions with the defense. I mean, Chase Young had his best season last year, right? He's a real steal in terms of you don't get a player with that physical gift that often in free agency, and he's just I don't know where it went wrong with Chase Young really, but if he can put it together, then he could have a really strong second half of his career. Other players on this defense we like, but it's a bit no-namey, isn't it? Like there's like
a little bit who-ish.
Yeah, I mean Brian Breesy was a big college player for Clemson, but
He's struggled.
He struggled a bit. There's a lot of Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama again.
Do you know how I describe this defense though? In a way, it's a kind of more name than game. Even the guys that you do recognize are kind of the guys that you like. Oh, I know that guy, but like, has he ever made a play? Like Chase Young, we all know Chase Young, but like, he's way more name value than game value.
Yeah,
Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's just got a cool name.
He's been solid. He's made some plays. He made some plays last year, definitely.
Yeah, 3 interceptions last year. Yeah, he didn't have too bad a season.
Yeah. But you're right. He was Kool-Aid McKinstry was what just because of his name.
What's better with Kool-Aid, name or game?
Yeah,
top 10 of pass breakups as well last year. Yeah,
we got to start playing this game for every player now. What's better, name or game?
Name or game. Name's better with that was a name we'd all heard before we'd seen the tape in the draft, wasn't it?
To be fair, he'd have to be prime Aaron Rodgers for his game to be better than his name.
So I think the defense needs work. Have they improved it? Maybe some of the signs. Caden Ellis is okay. Martin Emerson. Ketz is saying a religious nose tackle group. Christians and Godchos. Yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah.
There's good Samaritans out there. But yeah, the defense needs work, and that's probably where it's going to let them down. John Ridgway, I quite like as defensive tackle, but Kristen Miller was kind of a bit of a jag in waiting, I thought. So, yeah, questions at linebacker. I think they've lost their leader in Demario Davis. Like Caden Ellis is fine, but he's not going to replace what Demario Davis was. For
so your boy Danny Stutzman is in there.
Stutzman, I like Stutzman a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's kind of jaggy, and I've got the Steelers better than the Saints.
Yeah, pretty comfortable.
I don't think that's necessarily a difficult one, but again, it's a team that could very much like the Panthers maybe surprise you and see what the progression is like, because I think it's building towards something. I think this whole division in a sense, maybe Falcons is a difficult one, but I think I think it's trying to build towards something better than it has been, and I think that probably helps with low draft positions and being able to pick up some premier talent in that respect. But it's definitely a division that's trying to at least drag itself out of the doldrums, and we'll see if it actually happens in the next 2 or 3 years. But I think the Saints are the prime example of that, where they could come good, and I think they're on a positive uptick. But it's one that could also collapse in an instant. It's still relying on Chris Olave not being horribly concussed, and you've brought in a wide receiver with other injury tendencies, so that core could easily fall pretty quickly. Some nice pieces building here and there, but just still some holes to fill.
Yeah, I know we spoke about Tyler Shough already, and we'll move on from the Saints after this, but I will say this is one of the more interesting seasons for a player in terms of he is literally playing for his job and career and I know obviously quarterbacks always do, but in a very literal sense, because the Saints, depending on how he plays, are going to land somewhere in this draft that's filled with quarterbacks. So the better he plays and the more he can he's swimming upstream, right? And he's can I just get the Saints pick high enough to be away from a quarterback that they think can unseat me? It puts him in a very interesting position this year, I think, as a leader of this team.
Absolutely. He's in the bucket of maybe a Brissett who's doing the same in Arizona, or a couple of these QBs that are staring down the barrel of a potentially strong 2027 QB draft that are kind of playing for the right to say, no, actually, you know what? I don't think you need to go down that path. So.
And fair play to him for playing well enough at the end of last season to do that. I know obviously it was much easier to do this year with the lack of quarterback talent in the draft, but He survived that. This, he could have fallen prey to a Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Maybe not
Yeah.
with the Rams obviously wanting to pick him no matter where they were picking.
Well,
but,
yeah, they didn't draft anybody. Yeah.
but they could have picked him. I
quarterback-wise.
think they picked
Yeah.
before. They picked Jordan Tyson before that, right? So
Yeah, and Spencer Rattler's still kicking around there, and yeah, they've brought Zach Wilson in as well. So there's depth, certainly. If it does fall off a cliff, I mean, it's not great depth, but he is. I think you're right. I think he is playing for avoiding Arch Manning. I thought this was going to be the Arch Manning going to his grandfather's team and leading him into the future, but maybe not. Maybe not if Shook can drag them to a decent season.
We have the answer, gentlemen.
oh,
We have it.
where do the Steelers
Do you want to know?
amid the?
Ooh.
Do you want to know? Wow.
With that sigh as well. Yeah, that's whew.
It's
Yes.
so
You asked.
predictable. It's so predictable.
Oh no, we're not.
Oh, you
We
16th.
We are 16th.
16.
Knew it. I literally, when you said today, you were like, "Let's see where the Steelers are if we give you the top." I was like, "We'll be 16th." I know we'll be 16th.
So average, but that's out of the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's what this season's about, right, guys? Is about proving us wrong. We've fallen into this malaise, right, where we think that every season's like this, and that means that every prediction show we've done for the last 6 years has landed us in 16th place on this exercise.
And you know what? I've said it about season records, and I'll say it about this now. The worst thing that can happen for us is we do this exercise in 2027, and we're 16th again.
Yeah.
If we're
I hope
lower,
we're 30th.
if we're higher, obviously great. If we're lower, that's probably even better than just being middle of the friggin' pack yet again.
I just think our collective mental consciences can't handle that. Another season of it. Mike McCarthy, please do something.
Do something one way or the other.
Do anything. Be bad.
This is the Ket's nightmare. He's in the chat. He's just thrown his pina colada across the pool because this is exactly what he doesn't want. He wants either
Exactly.
tank or win. Doesn't want mediocrity. Depressing.
He wants tank Bigsby or win Bigsby. You know,
Right.
Oh, because we were 16th. Okay. I just pulled up the stream and I got like a shock because I just saw a giant number 16 and was like, what does that mean? Why is there a giant 16? All right. Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Fun.
All right.
Good exercise.
Fun.
Well done,
Good
everyone.
exercise. It took longer this year than we expected.
I think
we really-
we've
we dived
expanded
deep
it
into some
into
of the-
an around the league thing, and that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe we should lean into that next year. I think it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good.
I
Good
enjoyed
to check in on
Aaron's.
every team.
I enjoyed Aaron's input, and maybe we could reach out to
Reach out
more
to
of
some
our
more people next year.
friends,
Yeah,
yeah.
agreed.
not just random
Yeah.
people, but people. I
No.
trust Aaron. I like Aaron. He's a good. He knows NFL. So people like that. If you want to
And
be
I
involved,
apologize.
why
I
would you be
apologize,
listening to
Aaron,
us?
because I feel like he was so nice to send that thing in, and then I just attacked
You
him.
came hard for him there.
I've got to be
Yeah.
honest. So what I played you was about 4 minutes. He sent me a 10-minute rant,
Oh, bless.
which I had to edit
I
down.
could tell it was edited. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
it was a lot. There was a lot of ranting.
Oh, maybe you cut out the parts where he was really complimentary about Jacoby Brissett.
No, I didn't. No. There was a lot of hyper detailed stuff,
Oh.
which I was very grateful to, and it was interesting. But I just thought we can't have 10 minutes of this. But no, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. Right, okay. So you want to move on to the bit that Simon's really excited about?
Yes, I was gonna say, do we have got time for this now?
I think we've got time.
think
We got
we
time.
smashed
We
through
got
this.
time.
Yeah.
We got
All right,
time.
all right,
We
all
got
right.
time. We got
Well,
time.
we want to have a chat, and I don't really know how this came up this week, but I was in. Well, I do know how this came up actually. I was in Morrison's yesterday. I decided to go do a bit of shopping during the day, as one does. And walking around Morrison's, I was shocked at first to see, with all the England stuff that was laid out on a big pallet on Market Street. Morrison's fans will know what I mean. Was a box of Florida Gators backpacks. And I was like, at first I didn't see the price, and I saw it said £5 clearance. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Very strange item to see in Morrison's, especially of all the stores. I mean, maybe you'd think of it in like an Aldi or a Lidl where they do the special weird things, but like Morrison's very strange. Go around the corner, what do I appear upon? Michigan bum bags, and there was a sea of them, like as if like the entire Michigan team had arrived and left their bum bags behind. And then gone. So they must have had some kind of college NCAA, I don't know, crossover situation going on with Morrison's. I don't know what was going on. There was a few leftover bits, and I picked them up. All this was to say, it got us talking about supermarkets. Somebody said, "Is Morrison's your go-to?" And
That was
I
me.
think that was you, Mark. And I think it probably goes for everyone on this podcast, and I would imagine probably most of the listeners as well, given the neurodivergence that we likely attract, given our notions. Supermarkets is probably a topic that would interest a lot of people, and maybe this would interest the American in the audience as well, who doesn't know so much about the UK grocery situation. So I think generally this morphed into the idea that we were going to rank the supermarkets, and I think this will be interesting to get sort of Mark's view as a Midlander. Is that a thing, Mark?
Yeah.
A Midlander.
Midlander.
Midlander. Gav's view as a dirty Southerner.
And you as a northern monkey.
Oh, there he is again with the racial epithets.
God.
Dear me.
That is
Gavin
bollocks.
Marshall. It's
There it is.
disgraceful. Anyway, so I've written, because I think supermarkets, I think back to COVID as well, right? When I think about how it feels like they are also like the first sign of
Society.
dystopia.
Yeah, society.
Yeah,
has
like there
collapsed.
is exactly like when I started thinking about this deeply, I was like, I just couldn't stop thinking about like the queues when we were going in and out of Asda. You know, the Tesco in York's car park was the base for the mass COVID vaccine rollout, right? So it feels to me like almost like supermarkets are like the canary in the coal mine, right? When all the toilet rolls are gone is like a week before the bad thing happens.
It's supermarkets or petrol stations, depending on what your crisis is.
Yes, everyone's
Yes,
flooding outside the petrol stations.
Yeah, in Russia, like the queues for the petrol stations right now are like epic proportion.
Really?
Have you not seen?
Oh, because of the
Yeah,
no, well, I
because of
don't
the,
follow Russian news.
Well, it's because of the Ukrainian sustained strikes that have been going on for a year on their oil refineries. There's literally
Oh.
no fuel in Russia. If you're even in Moscow,
Oh,
like
dear.
if you want fuel, like you have to queue up for hours. Like it's,
Oh, boy.
it's on the verge of collapse.
Oh, okay. Well, that geopolitics.
Mm.
But we shower ourselves in excess in this country so much that I think that when something like loo roll is missing, that it does feel very dystopian, right? Like it feels very strange to us. And so before we rank these supermarkets, I hope you'll indulge me in that I've written a haiku about the supermarket.
Please.
Ikuka market.
I've realized now that I wished I had like some like nice Oriental style background music to go with this, but I
Oh,
don't.
just before you crack on as well, Ketz has had to finally go on his holiday and enjoy his holiday. So thank you for tuning
Oh,
in.
Mr.
Ketz.
Supermarket talk, really? What does this music sound like?
Non-existent.
Oh,
Oh,
that's quite
Oh.
nice. Yeah,
Oh,
Like that?
my ukulele.
yeah, that's what I thought I'd use. There you go.
well, I can
Um,
give you Japanese haiku music.
Oh
if you
yeah,
want.
okay. Yeah,
Here-
all right,
here it
I'll
comes.
Take that. I'll take that.
Oh, that's good.
No, that was a bad pronunciation.
Mason Thomas.
R. Can we start that again, Gav? Can we get a fresh Japanese track?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. All right. Our dystopia. Bastion of my comfort. Dark portent looming.
I like it. Poignant. Second line, is it 7 syllables?
I knew that was going to be questioned because I had an argument with the AI about this.
You're
Because-
using
and I hate-
AI?
No, I hate AI.
Can you-
as you
can-
know.
Whoa. Can you
Reduce-
repeat the line?
So hold on. I hate AI. Let's start there. And this is why I go to it specifically for these things, because I knew it would argue with me. Bastion.
Wait, you don't like AI because you want to dominate it, and it is often smarter
It's so
than
smarmy. It's like thinks it knows everything, and it's wrong. I knew it was wrong because, and this is what I did. I proved it wrong. I went to Google AI, and it told me it was 2 syllables. And then I went to ChatGPT, and it told me it was 3 syllables or whatever, or the other way around. And I was like, so clearly none of you know. It's made up, and I can decide which one it is based on how I pronounce the word.
So you said Bastion.
Bastion as 2 syllables, I agree, Mark, that my initial thought was that Bastion would be 3 syllables. But generally, the when I looked around, and it's hard to get consensus on these things because how many people have ever looked this up? But generally, what I was getting back was that it's 2 syllables. But you
Bastion.
could pronounce it as 3 syllables if you
Bastion.
wished.
Is 2. Bastion is 3. Yeah.
That's why I said specifically Bastion.
Bastion.
Like
Yeah.
Bastion.
I think you can have some artistic license on that.
on that. Well, the thing is, Mark, if there was like a thing that said it is this, that's all I would have wanted, like, and then I could have used it or not used it. But I wasn't even getting that, so I almost just had to. I couldn't even use the word unless I was the one that decided if it was 2 or 3.
Yeah. But probably focusing on that more than haiku at this
Do
point.
you know what? This is the problem with Westerners and haikus, right? We can't. We have to prove people wrong. We have to make sure that everything is good. You know what I mean? It's like a natural instinct in us. Whereas the Asian diaspora, I think, understand that they must take a second to live with the content.
Yeah, it's
I think
more about the
Westerners-
meaning and the spiritual vibe
Yes.
rather than the strict
Then
rule
is
structure.
this 7 or 6?
It's we move past the basic surface level rules and get into the essence of how it makes you feel.
Okay, and so give me my last moment in the sunny before I hand it over and we can start discussing the rankings, because to introduce the players, if you will, in this game of the UK supermarket realm, I'd like everyone, if you're not familiar with the supermarket world, or even if you are, this is a way to think about it that maybe you haven't thought before. Think of it like a parliament, right? With 2 major parties and then kind of the rest, right? Similar to what the UK was once like before we were embattling racists at every moment on our doorstep.
And communists.
Sure.
Keep it to supermarkets.
All right, so I'm sure this is going to be not metaphorical at all. So here we go. You've got the parties. I've given them all names. Okay, so here the first group, the socially acceptable group, right, is what I've labeled this. This is your kind of default, and I'm sure Gav, you can argue with me on all these in a second. This is your kind of what you would traditionally say if you say this is your supermarket of choice. It really doesn't say too much about you. It might say something broadly in a middle spectrum, but it's not too enlightening. Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's. Is any argument on that?
Socially
on a base
acceptable.
level,
Yep.
socially acceptable.
Middle of the road, Jags.
Okay. Versus, and this is the other major party I've got, and I think this is where Gav will say what, but I think in the north this is true. The Great Trade-Off group. And this is B&M, Home Bargains, Iceland. These kind of places.
What about
Better
Lidl and Aldi and Lidl?
Whoa.
Are they not in that group?
You're getting ahead. B&M, Home Bargains, Iceland. Better value and variety, right? Cheaper. More interesting shopping experiences, but with a deep musk of the common man. Lots of scroats, low quality items to dodge. It pains to be there at times.
Unfortunately, don't have them in London.
Exactly. That's what I thought you would say.
So
that
why I would
says something.
bundle in Aldi and Lidl, because I feel like they're
Right.
the same. They're in that
Okay,
group.
so I
and
put
they're in
them. Well, so I put them in their own group. So then I've got the extra parties, right? The additional parties, which I've got so I've got the smaller segment Know Your Place stores, right? Which are they can be high end. On the high end, you've got Co-op. On the low end, you've got One Stop, right? Both have the place. Both are limited in their own ways. They lack total grocery coverage, but they are where you need them to be. Totally fine, but they're not a major player. They're like a Sinn Féin or a local
Hamas.
party or what? Yeah. ISIS. And then to get to your point, Gav, this is what I called your group. We are European megaliths, but our general condescending demeanor, frustratingly inconsistent product lines, and low but increasing prices place us in a semi-acceptable position as a working man's alternative, although this in itself is a disparaging comment on the declining economic clout of the average worker group. And that's Aldi and Lidl.
And savage crowds with lacking etiquette.
Right. But it's not as bad, believe it or not, Gav, as a B&M or a Home Bargains in Iceland. You might not believe it. It's a slightly up tier experience.
Oh, really? B&M and Home Bargain are worse than Aldi?
Certainly, yes.
Iceland, we do have. They're just Iceland's just a room full of freezers. Doesn't really count in my book.
I think maybe our Icelands have turned into food warehouses that are a bit more
Right.
expansive.
Okay, I'm interested to see what the other end of the spectrum is. So carry on.
And then the last, so that's the two of the additional groups. The last group that I've got
Oh,
here
you've only got
is
one more group. Interesting.
what-
Okay.
yeah, so we'll see what maybe
There's
you've got
another
some
group.
additions.
Whichever way you go here, there's another group.
The group I have, the last group, of course, is just the lauded gentry, Waitrose, Ocado, wherever your friend Dudley or Gav shops.
Okay, you've missed a group out there.
All right,
Yeah.
interesting. Go on.
Well, you didn't include Marks and Spencers there, which is,
Oh well, they to me would go in the lauded gentry, I guess.
yes, they would. That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah. The other group that you've got is selective gentlemen's clubs, such as
Oh, of
Costco.
course.
And,
Great,
yeah,
excellent,
and
excellent
Whole
shout.
Foods. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm writing this
yeah.
down. Select. Now,
I've been in Costco once, and it was just a bit of an overwhelming experience. I think
Costco is
just-
right. Let's move on. Can we start ranking our things here, or is it?
yeah,
Sure, yeah,
I think.
Can I start?
we've laid out the groups. Well,
How many
first
do
of all,
you
hang
have,
on.
Gav?
Before you
Yeah.
rank them, Gav, what would you which group would you associate yourself with? Who you vote for?
Well, that's why I went to my number one, because that will show you.
okay. All right. Okay.
So I want to take us to Wembley. I'm going to take us to Costco, Wembley, which is my number one.
Whoa, we started at one. Holy smokes!
Yeah, we're going one down because I think this discussion becomes more interesting. So you'll see this is my favorite place to shop in the entire world. Costco Wembley is fantastic. Costco is a skill. You can't walk into Costco and know how to shop. Everyone that goes into a Costco for the first time ends up spending way more than they want to and comes home with stuff they don't need and has no place to put it. But Costco is a refined gentleman's club. When you have worked out the rules, you've worked out the order, and you've worked out your own discipline. It requires discipline. Imagine the middle aisle of Lidl, except everything you buy is multiplied by 25 and is half price, right? So it takes real skill not to spend 3 times your budget and come home with 5 items multiplied by 25. So you've got 100 toilet roll, you've got 15 tinfoil packets, you've got 5 jars of buffalo sauce. You're happy with the products. The quality is good. The food standard is good. Everything's big. Everything's supersized. But the problem is you. You just need to contain you. And then if you're looking on the stream, this is the Costco I look at. I shop at. And if you scan from there to there, you'll see Wembley Stadium. So I shop literally right at Wembley Stadium. That's my favourite shop. I go there as much as I can. And the way to shop at Costco is a targeted paramilitary strike. You go to Costco more often and buy less. You go in, you know the items that are good value. You know the items that you can fit into your cupboard. You don't buy any more. You might treat yourself to a nice gilet or a set of slacks. You might treat yourself, but ultimately you're buying the items that you know you need and that you've run out of. For instance, Marmite, much better value in Costco. You get a bucket of Marmite. You're not paying for the plastic tub, and everyone's a winner. So I'm
Here's
sure.
my question on Marmite though. How much? I love Marmite. How much can you possibly be getting through to need a big tub? Like I barely use
It's
the
not-
one that I get.
It's not about the size; it's about the value. So you're spending £5 on a small shaped, like black thing of Marmite, right? In Costco, you get just a plain white tub with the Marmite branding. It's about £7. It's about 4 times the volume. It's amazing. And
But I don't need that much. Marmite.
no, it's not that much. You're paying less for packaging. You're paying more for Marmite.
And of course, sometimes people need a lot of Marmite. What if they're feeding?
And the
home?
other thing that Costco does, their roast chickens are fantastic. If I had to live on one thing and one thing only for the rest of my life, Costco roast chicken is the answer. You go in, it's bagged, it's cooked perfectly, ready to go. I could eat that every day. It's perfect. You don't get that. The Tesco's rotisserie chicken is fine, but it's not as good. It's my one concern with Costco is I'm not sure it's organic. I'm not sure it's genetically modified free. I'm not sure it's hormone free. So that's my concern. But honestly, if you want fish, you want beef, you want chicken, you're getting more for your money. It tastes better. It's fatter. It's fuller. It's more flavoursome. It maybe is pumped full of hormones, but it's damn good. And I think Costco's the one. Obviously, there's some barriers. Not everyone can. You need to be a public servant. You need to have a private limited company. It keeps the riffraff out.
You have to be a public servant or have what?
Yeah, there's rules to. You can't just walk in.
This is the non-starter for me, right? Because any pretension to me is like I'm ready to burn the store down. To be honest, like this is a non-starter. I cannot deal with this stuff. It's this. You know me, Gav. I'm a hardline guy, and I have hardlines about things. Private schools, hardline. They should not be allowed. Stores you have to pay to get into, hardline.
You don't have to necessarily. Well, you do have to pay to get in. You do need a membership, but. I'm my membership. I can't go at certain times. It's like businesses go at certain times because it's a wholesaler, right? So you've got restaurants.
And be a wholesaler. Stop trying to have your cake and eat it. Get out of the city.
No. So businesses and private enterprises can go in the morning, and then freeloaders like me can go in the afternoon. It manages the time flow. So you know. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. You have to develop a thing. If you go at 12 o'clock, all of the business, the vans, they're going to be leaving. There's going to be space in the car park. You get in. You don't want to go about 5 o'clock because then it's going to be absolutely rammed. But honestly, Costco's. If you can get a membership, get a membership.
I don't love the membership thing. I got to be honest. But outside of that, the concept of the opening the wholesaler to the common man, I can get behind a little bit. But we got to revisit the membership thing and only being allowed if you're that's very pretentious.
I don't know if it's pretentious. It's exclusive. But
okay, those are maybe just mean the same thing and just one's a southern word for the same thing. I don't know.
It's not pretentious. There's no pretension. Once you get in, it's not like people are walking around going, "I'm special because I shop at Costco." There's still
just lots of guys in monocles walking around.
No, it's a lot of. You can tell there's people there that run businesses, restaurants, and things.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I get it. I understand. I understand that it's not, like a cigar club. And I have been in a Costco. I've been in a Costco in the US, though, is the problem. I've never been in a British Costco, so I don't know how they differentiate.
The parking spaces are American, super wide. The chariots,
really?
the trolleys, super wide, American chariots. Yeah. You'll like it. It's an American experience. You'd like it.
Yeah. I liked Costco in the US when I went with my ex-girlfriend's mum. It was expansive and exciting, But again, I would be for the kind of person I am, Gav. I mean, yesterday I went on this shop to a few places and I didn't need any of this stuff, and I came home with a bathroom mirror.
I guarantee if you went into Costco, you would do about $1,000 on your credit card.
Easy.
I'm not joking. Because you go,
oh
my God, they've got a 4-pack of American barbecue sauce. Yeah. Oh my God, they've got that swivel chair. That's perfect. I want that. That's £300.
Sometimes
seriously.
It's about self-preservation, right? It's like when McDonald's wanted to move in where the old Iceland was just across the street from me. And I actually went on the council vote thing and voted against it because I was like, this can't be here. Like, for me, I can't be here. I'll die. I've got to have some self-control. I have to understand that the McDonald's cannot be on my doorstep. There has to be a barrier to entry on it. And it's the same with Costco.
Okay, so let's see where do you go, Si? Where's your number one? Let's see it.
Oh God, see, I was thinking I was going to build up to this. I feel like, and things have been moving a lot in the supermarket realm for me. It's difficult. I almost a bit, funnily enough, very similar to politics. I feel a little bit homeless, to be honest, in our modern supermarket system. I probably spend most of my time and money in like the smaller segment stores, the co-ops and stuff, because I just don't rarely do a big shop because I just like sneak out and grab a few things and sneak back home again, usually at night. Like a werewolf or like a shadow. You can barely even detect that.
Sounds like a vampire to me.
Right, exactly. Just like disappearing to pick up snacks and caffeine and then returning home.
And that drive you do to pick up other illicit goods.
I would say that of the kind of the more major stores, okay, if I'm going to rank it, if I'm going to be honest, if I put number one, loyalty almost compels me to want to say Morrison's. I almost view Morrison's as like the Labour Party, right? Like I'm like almost like being dragged by my forefathers back into this fucking place that keeps letting me down.
And has changed dramatically.
And has changed. Has changed massively. It was once about Market Street. It was once the values I held dear, Gav, correct. And now, is it about the worker or is it just about woke fish stalls? I don't know anymore.
It's now Keir Starmer saying it's the gayest parliament we've ever had.
I'm pro that. I like that. I go gay parliament.
Which Morrisons are we looking at here? York?
Oh, Morrison's York. Foss Islands is the one you're looking for. Morrison's Foss.
I found it. Here we are. Let's go there.
Island, yeah. Big Morrison's. This is where I picked up your Michigan bum bag from yesterday, Gav, that I'll be sending over to you.
Excellent.
It's good, right? It's good. The problem with Morrison's is it used to be traditionally, maybe Mark is Morrison's big in the Midlands? Is it relevant?
I've literally got one right down the street.
Very good.
from
Very
me.
What's that
I
big
thought so.
tower?
Yeah, and there's a great video on this. If you're interested and you're looking at the YouTube, Gav's pointing out a big giant tower, I imagine, with like a clock in the middle of it in the Morrisons. And it's interesting that you've pointed that out as not recognizing it, because there's a video you found on YouTube that's like, what's with all the UK supermarkets looking like this? And there's like this really interesting investigative story went on about like why at a certain time all of these new box superstores were sort of built in this particular style with this like clock tower aesthetic to try and blend in with UK towns. It's like a really interesting watch.
There's that, but then there's also a giant obelisk.
Oh, sorry, you were talking about the Fred Dibner Tower. Yeah,
Is that a Fred Dibner Tower?
Well, so that's a like one of the old Industrial Revolution chimneys, right?
Right.
Like the coal chimneys, and they were all over obviously we're in Yorkshire here, but they were all over Lancashire and Yorkshire, primarily Lancashire. Like I say, that's why Fred Dibner is from Bolton, who's very famous for like going around.
Fred Dibner, the UK's
down.
Celebrity Hall of Fame level all-pro steeplejack, right?
Well, there you go, steeplejack. Yeah, absolutely. So I come in through this as I'm 30 seconds behind, go up into this little petrol station. Yeah, as you can see, there's this giant tower. Now, interesting story about this Morrison's last week. Where that tower is, they've just blocked it all off. You used to be able to like go in behind it and you could cut across and get to York Town City Centre and whatnot. But now they've blocked all that off under the auspices of quote unquote safety. It's actually because there's a gypsy caravan park.
What's with the like Israeli Defense Force conning tower bit?
Or is I'm that a bit behind you, so it's hard to. Where are we? What
Sorry, carry on with your story, but you'll see.
So behind, so there's a gate blocking off this big tower, this Fred Dibner Tower, as he said. And behind it, as I'm walking down the street the other day because I can't cut across anymore, just a horse just stood on the street on the pavement, but behind the gate, like behind the blocked off bit, which is supposed to be cordoned off for our safety, right? Because this chimney that stood there for probably 120 years and has never caused a problem is now somehow unsafe. So they've blocked this area off, but now there's a horse in there, right? And it's like trying to chew at the locked thing to try and get out. It's like clearly in distress. I'm like talking to this guy who walks down the street who's looked like a bit of a drifter, but he was concerned about the horse at least. I was like, I might like call the RSPCA. So I looked it up. RSPCA will not deal with horses basically at all because they're kind of like cats and dogs. They won't deal with them if they think there'll be an owner because they don't want to get involved with it legally, right? So there's no option. And it's because the gypsy farm camp behind the Morrisons is just let it like
roam free,
abandoned it, roam free, and so it's like lost in the city. But again, it's not grass. This area, it's just an old cement pavement thing. It's got lost on.
We're looking at it.
Oh man, it winds me up. Anyway,
I'm concerned that this sign here has got store open as usual while we carry out urge maintenance work. They can't even get the sign up. It's like folding down. Like, surely, like, step one is get the sign maintained before we do the urgent maintenance work. I see what you're saying about the architecture. This was designed roughly 1987, built probably 1993/94. I see the clock tower. What was the story you were going to tell us about the clock tower while we drive there?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, to be honest, but I just remember there was this excellent I have to try and find it after the show, a YouTube video about a guy who had like done this investigative piece on why do all of the British supermarkets like look like this. It was a bit of like a catchy headline, and like it was to do with the idea of like wanting to blend it in with town centres, and it was something about like trying to bring the concept of big grocery stores from America into the UK, but how to make them feel familiar to
But
British
in a
audience.
chintzy way. I mean, look at this
Yeah.
garden centre. This is
Oh, is this on the outside?
5 out of 10. We've got the orange cones and the barriers there.
Really bad. You were talking about the Costco giant car parking spaces. This car park notoriously poor. Hard to get into. Hard to get out of small spaces.
Yeah,
Tough.
but this is your local, right? This is the
this is
store
the
you
local
love.
Morrison's
Yeah,
just down
I
the
get
road.
it. There's a lot to be said about knowing where certain things are. Familiarity plays a big part,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I get that.
But the thing is, like I say, this is what because traditionally, like Morrison's was my favorite because you had the bread counter. They always did the best bread, right, Matt? They did the best chicken. You were talking about the rotisserie chicken, Gav. I mean, I feel like for the Northerners amongst us, or maybe everyone who isn't a Southerner, it was the Morrison's chicken counter, right? I don't know. Is this true for you, Matt?
Well, I
Maybe
have a smaller Morrison's, you see. It's more of a kind of express.
I'm more of a
Morrison's.
dinky Morrison's.
Yes.
Well, in the major Morrison's, they of course would have Market Street, which was that they would have. It was really the idea was to mock a northern, like there's a fishmonger, there's a bakery, there's a now it's a pizza do it yourself thing, I guess, but it didn't used to be. There's a fruit and veg monger, whatever, right? Now it's all like a bit more blended into the traditional.
It's got rid of
supermarket
those
style.
counters. Is that AI? Like they don't want the man behind there.
I mean, the sign that the final straw for me that jumped the shark was that I went in yesterday, and obviously they'll do like meal deals and stuff, and there was a £10 pizza meal deal, right? And you ordered it on a fast food style touchscreen machine, and I was like, I'm in Morrison's. This is insane. I was like, we've like literally lost our mind.
So we've got Crimson Eyes in the chat saying worst car park ever. Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. I was thinking this car park looks all right. Like you can probably get a space here. I mean, you tell me. They've got the petrol station there. Is that a car wash as well? Seems like ample parking for your average Yorkonian.
Oh yeah, I will say it's a decent, solid sized car park. It's a bad car park in terms of moving around. You got to be careful you don't accidentally hit someone with a tight space. But
right, they haven't got the Costco wide parking spots. Also, Crimson Eyes mentions Morrison's chicken nuggets.
Yeah, well, that's Chloe, by the way.
All right.
I assume what's happened here is she's heard talk of supermarkets
and she's locked in,
and it's compelled her.
Okay.
Greatly. So Chloe, let us know what your favorite supermarket in York.
I do like the chicken nuggets from Morrison's, I will say.
Okay, Mark, let's go.
Nice.
Where are we going with your number one?
Well, I'm kind of I don't know if I'm reluctant to say about it now after what had transpired from earlier. Audi's my number one.
Aldi.
Oh,
Aldi. Where are we?
We big shop. So, oh God, because it's between where I live and Loughborough. So I'm just trying to picture.
You don't know where it is. Is it Allendale Road at Loughborough? Belton Road, Loughborough? Shepshed, Loughborough?
No, the thing is, it's not in. It's just on the outskirts of Loughborough.
Well, I'm going to put Aldi Loughborough, and I'm going to question you. Okay, let's go. We fly over.
But I'll be honest, I was.
Is it Woodthorpe?
Maybe I'm going to have to catch
do you
up
go
to the
from
stream.
Between Barrow, Undersaw, and Quorn?
Yeah. Yes.
You drive down the dual carriageway, hit the roundabout, and then you're there.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the one. That's the one.
Let's go in.
Listen, I was an Audi snob. A few, probably about a decade ago or so ago. Kathy converted me, and I think Audi does great stuff, great off-brand stuff for lower prices, and it works for us, and it's just a really, really solid supermarket experience, better than some of the ones I've had for better at the price. The people are who they are, yes, but I think they are wherever you are. But this is the Audi. You've got the right one there, Gav. That is absolutely the one.
Do you find, Mark, that the people in Aldi are different? Do you go in B&M or Home Bargains ever? Are you ever in that kind of?
Not a big Kathy goes into them more than I do. But I do find I think you get a wider range of people in an Audi, like a wider range of different personalities. I think in an Audi,
it is more of a melting pot in an Aldi. Yeah,
because
there's
really
people that don't
yeah.
mind going to Aldi that are kind of more higher earner middle class people that just.
But
don't care about that kind of stuff.
just like the mad shit in the middle aisles as well, and not under you can the different themes that they do as well. Like I really like when they put the American theme stuff on, and you get your NFL bits in there. But Mexican theme stuff as well, and they really seem to take pride in that. And
they don't take pride in coming up with their own original ideas, though, do they, Matt?
Well, no.
They don't.
Well, I guess the difficulty with Audi as well is you bundle Lidl in there as well, but I don't have a Lidl too close to me. But I just really love, and I mean that particular Audi as well. I mean you're surrounded by a Greggs and a Subway as well.
Yeah, I've seen that, and a Costa drive-through. I think it's hard with Audi because Audi's got very big range of outcomes. Some are terrible, some are great. And your local one, the architecture's nice. The car park seems small, but judging by this image here, there's enough space for
you can find
community.
parking. Yeah, absolutely.
This seems fine. And I've been to some of the better Audis, and they're quite pleasant. The grocery aisle's nice. Everything's laid out good. Prices are quite pleasant. I'd say a good Audi is better than your general Lidl, but a bad Audi is worse than your general Lidl.
Okay, all right.
Right?
You
so Lidl, you're kind of safe. Audi, it's really variable. This one looks like a good one. It's got the modern doors. It's got the windows. I can kind of imagine what that looks like inside, and I think it's clean, functional. Yeah, I can get it, Mark.
I broadly probably kind of agree with that, actually. Although I am a hardline Lidl guy, but it's because it's probably more due to childhood memories. Lidl was like my grand's place to go, and she would always take us.
Right.
But so I was always a Lidl guy, and and even though Aldi's so similar to Lidl, like on the outside and on the inside, I mean, ostensibly, there's something not quite right about Aldi to me. I've always said this to Chloe as well, and she's like always goes on at me, but I'm like, there's a weird atmosphere in Aldi. I can't quite put my finger on it. Like, it feels a little bit like
edgy. Yeah.
Like I go in
like
and it's like I've entered like a weird. It's a bit like Backrooms, right? Like I've entered like a weird liminal space. The people are all a bit strange. The staff are like urgent, but like don't seem to be doing anything at the same time. I don't know. It's like I feel like I'm it's a problem that I'm there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm putting someone out by being there.
What is this?
We've got very friendly Audi employees.
What the hell is this? Like you've got like a pagan ritual ceremonial site here, and like a crescent of Dino boxes. Is this Loughborough? What is?
It's just outside.
And
I
then
think
a graveyard.
I don't really know that area.
It's just Aldi, and then it's the
Dino box
pagan
hell.
burial ground.
Wow.
What is that? I would never travel down that way. So
okay,
that's a new estate. Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving to my number 2. Is that right?
Well, Gav, I was going to say because, in fairness, and Matt's right. It's getting on a bit. We've been here for 3 hours. What if we put a pin in this, as much as we did last week, and at the end of next week's episode, we revisit this and get into a bit deeper
as
with
a returning piece.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah. So we've done our number 1.
We've each done our number 1s and discussed our home places.
Maybe we'll change the thumbnail to Supermarket Sweep Rankings plus NFL.
Where do the Steelers rank
NFL?
In the UK supermarket scene?
Yeah, no, I like this. This can be an off-season bit that we come back to.
Yeah, maybe we can come back and compare each of the supermarkets we discussed to an NFL team. Something like that. We'll play around with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we better get away because it is
late.
midnight here in the UK.
I've
shot.
got to go into the office tomorrow. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, follow the show at UK Steelers Pod. Follow me at I Wrote This. Follow Gav at GM Boom. Follow Mac at Mesh NFL. All on Twitter. And appreciate you guys being here and everyone sticking around again for our inane supermarket chat.
Shout out to Chloe.
Shout out Chloe. Aldi. We're not sure about that. Go Lidl.
Go Costco.
Go banana.